Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our council meeting for Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025. We're going to call our meeting to order at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining us. This is great. We love having people here, so welcome. We're going to move on to our land acknowledgement. Penetanguishene respectfully acknowledges that we're on the traditional and treaty territory of the Anishinaabe people and their ancestors, now known as the Williams Treaties First Nations territory. This includes the Chippewa Tri-Council, comprised of Bosley First Nation, Rama First Nation, and the Georgina Island First Nation, Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, and the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nations. Also in home of the Huron-Wendat, and more recently the historic settlement of the Métis, Penetanguishene is now home to many Indigenous peoples. Penetanguishene is proud of its Indigenous name, and more importantly, that for thousands of years it has been and will continue to be an important homeland and gathering place for Indigenous people. We recognize that we are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters, and are responsible to ensure that our Mother the Earth is here for future generations. Councillor Roux, can you help us with the French land acknowledgement, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. Reconnaissance officielle du territoire de la ville de Penetanguishene. Penetanguishene reconnaît avec respect que nous sommes situés sur le territoire traditionnel et de traité du peuple Anishinaabe et de ses ancêtres, maintenant connus sous le nom du territoire des Premières Nations, visé par le traité Williams. Il s'agit du conseil tripartite de Chippewa composé de la Première Nation de Beausoleil, de la Première Nation de Rama, de la Première Nation de Georgian Island, de la Première Nation d'Alderville, de la Première Nation du Curve Lake et de la Première Nation de Hiawatha et la Première Nation des Mississaugas de Scugog Island. De plus, Penetanguishene était jadis le lieu de résidence des Huron-Wendat et de plus récemment d'un établissement métier historique. La ville héberge aujourd'hui de nombreux peuples autochtones. Penetanguishene est fière de son nom autochtone et le plus important du fait que pendant des milliers d'années, elle était et continuera d'être un important territoire et lieu de rassemblement des peuples autochtones. Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes les intendants et gardiens de cette terre et de ses eaux et que nous sommes responsables de veiller à ce que notre mère, la terre, soit présentée pour les générations à venir.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roux. Council, if we can stand. Councillor Vedabunker, I'm going to ask if you can guide us with a council commitment, please.
Thank you. Council commitment for the town of Penetanguishene. We are grateful for the many gifts which have been bestowed on Penetanguishene and its citizens, including the gifts of freedom, opportunity, and peace that we enjoy. May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. We ask that all in attendance and those that could not be here assist us in promoting good government. May our decisions as members of council be enlightened, and may we all be strengthened in our awareness of our duties and responsibilities. May we be granted the wisdom, knowledge, will, and understanding to preserve the good fortune of the town for the benefit of all and to make good laws and wise decisions. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Councillor Vedabunker. Councillor Mershon, please.
Nous sommes reconnaissants des nombreuses grâces accordées à Penetanguishene et à ses citoyens dont la liberté, les possibilités et la paix dont nous jouissions. Que nous soyons des intendants dignes de tout ce que nous ont été confié. Nous demandons que toutes les personnes présentes et celles qui n'ont pas pu se présenter nous aident à promouvoir une bonne gouvernance. Que nos décisions à titre de membres du Conseil soient éclairées et que nous soyons toutes renforcées à prendre conscience de nos devoirs et responsabilités. Que l'on nous accorde la sagesse, les connaissances, la volonté et la compréhension qui nous permettront de préserver la bonne fortune de la ville au bénéfice de tous, ainsi que de faire des bonnes lois et prendre de sages décisions. Merci pour votre présence.
Thank you, Councillor Mershon. Sarah, welcome back. It's great to have you. If you don't mind, if we could play the public service announcement.
Hello, and welcome to this evening's council meeting. Before we start, just a few messages. For those that require the washrooms are located just outside of council chambers, to the right, down the hall. Town Hall is protected by a single source fire alarm system. Should the fire alarm activate, please exit the building through the rear doors or the side doors. Make your way down to the parking lot closest to the church. In the event of a medical emergency, please dial 911. The address for Town Hall is number 10 Robert Street West in Penetanguishene. And I'd like to remind everyone that we have a public access defibrillator just outside of council chambers. I wish you a safe and good council meeting. Bonsoir et bienvenue à la ville de Penetanguishene et à la salle de conseil. Avant que nous commençons ce soir, une couple de messages. Si vous avez besoin de les chambres de bain sont situées juste à l'extérieur de la salle de conseil, au bout du corridor à votre droite. La salle de conseil est protégée d'un système d'alarme à feu de 1 stage. Si l'alarme à feu sonne, veuillez quitter la salle de conseil par les portes à l'arrière ou de côté et on se rejoint dans le stationnement près de l'église. En cas de problèmes médicaux, veuillez signaler le 911. L'adresse ici est le numéro 10 rue Robert-Ouest à Penetanguishene et je veux vous rappeler qu'il y a un défibrillateur public juste à l'extérieur de la caserne. Je vous souhaite une bonne soirée. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you again, Chief Renaud, for doing that. Welcome again, everyone, for being here. We appreciate everyone being here. There's still some open seats in the front, so if you're in the back and you'd like to have front row center, come on up. If you're here and you would like to address council, everyone's invited to make comments to council. I'll have you register with the clerk, Madam Clerk, and we just have you register and you can address council about any matter. So if you haven't registered, please make your way to Madam Clerk to register. Later in the agenda, we do have a public meeting tonight regarding the Town Dock Secondary Plan and the Master Plan. So if you hear about that item, at that point in the meeting, we'll invite you up to the podium to address council. All right, council, we're going to move on to the next item here is approve the agenda. We have a motion that reads that the agenda of the regular council meeting for October the 8th, 2025 be approved as presented. It's moved by Councillor Roux, seconded by Councillor Waters. Comments and questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Council number 6, our declaration of pecuniary interest. Any members have a declaration of pecuniary interest tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. Open forum. Again, open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address council on matters important to you. You're limited to 2 minutes. We'd have you address council. We don't want to have two-way debate with our staff. Madam Clerk, has anyone registered for open forum this evening?
Thank you, Your Worship. There are several members of the public registered for open forum this evening. First up, we have Martin Prost, who will be speaking in regards to the Committee of the Adjustment Decision number B4 2023.
Good day. Welcome, Mr. Prost. You're welcome. I'll have you up to the podium. Thank you for joining us. And again, the floor is yours, sir. You have 2 minutes.
You're going to have to time me because I got a lot to say. I want to say thank you, first of all, for the open forum. This is a real gift to our community. What I have to talk about today is drinking water. We all know that drinking water is the most sacred resource of any community, and it's no different in the community of Sandy Bay, which is my family and the families of the neighbors that live along Gordon Drive. We are all worried sick about the proposed development at the bottom of Sandy Bay Road on a swampy area. And we're worried about the runoff from the raised septic beds that are being proposed and any other toxins from residential development it's going to flow into the groundwater and then downstream toward our lots, our wells, our unprotected aquifers. They're also worried that just a week ago, the Committee of Adjustment listened to 10 different submissions for 2 hours approximately, and then without any deliberation, simply rubber stamped the proposed development and agreed to the severance. How did that happen? Well, to be fair to the committee, they didn't get a chance to deliberate. They did after, but of course that's too late. And also to be fair to them, they didn't get a chance, or the agenda was really loaded in favor of the development. They were given what I call unwarranted guarantees that there was no problem. If we look at the agenda there's a part that says response to comments. And that's comments made by the various 10 objectors. And the one section says water contamination. And at the end of that first paragraph, here's what it says. There are no drinking source water protection concerns related to the proposed development.
Mr. Prose, I'm going to end you there. Thank you. I appreciate you addressing council this evening.
Good.
Madam Clerk.
Can I in council to do?
Real brief.
Okay, well, I'm asking council to appeal the decision. I would do it myself, but Doug Ford has ruled that out through the Safe Waters Act. Or sorry, not the Safe Water, anyhow, it's the
Sir, we have your letter. It is on our council committee of the whole on our CIP. I know your ask of councils to appeal the municipal appeal of the decision of Committee of Adjustment.
council to go ahead with a full appeal and spend a lot of money on it. We don't need to go legal. What I'm asking for is council to go ahead and stop the train by the appeal and then have a proper assessment done to show where the groundwater from these septic systems and these developed lots is going to flow, and to what extent it's going to enter our aquifers, which are unprotected.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Next up is David Courts in regards to the automated speed cameras.
Welcome. Again, if you can address council, and we're limited to 2 minutes, please. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
I just have a simple question. I'd like to know when the speed cameras are going to be turned on, a date.
Thank you. I know it's early in November. We're in our 90-day notification period right now. I'll turn to our CO. Do we know a date, Mr. CO?
Through you, through your worship, we don't know an exact date, but it certainly will be sometime in November that we activate. They may be in a staged approach, really working with the vendor on what that looks like from a timing perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Next up is Len Loughran in regards to the lots at 1500 Sandy Bay Road.
Good day, sir. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I just have a couple of concerns. I know that it was approved too, and I'm here to have questions because I live right beside this property that was lot number 1. And my well is about 50 to 60 feet from the property. And as things are now, everything is above the lot behind me, lot 1. If they're building it all up, which they have to, everything is going to have to flow onto my property. And I have an issue with that. I just didn't know, I just here to come to support all in favor of not doing it and those that are have the lot. The water for everybody is going to be the same. And if it's an aquifer underneath and they contaminate it, we're all going to have bad water. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up is Paul Wilson responding to the Committee of Adjustment decision for 1500 Sandy Bay Road.
Hello, thank you. I'm going to keep it real brief. I have many concerns, but I'm going to focus particularly on the septic feasibility study that was conducted by Azimuth Engineering. And it's acknowledged that due to the presence of high water table and seasonal flooding, a raised disposal bed will be required. And because it's a raised disposal bed, the suggested height is 1.5 meters, more or less. This will change the gradient, the drainage gradient significantly. Right, currently, the properties, I live next to Len, and currently it's a bit of a depression and the water flows into it from the south and from the north. So if that property is raised 1.5 meters, it's going to change the drainage gradient significantly. For raised bed systems, the setback for wells is anywhere between 18 and 33 meters for depending on the type of well you have, and the reference for that is Ontario Building Code. So well sightings must be up gradient of the on-site disposal field and must comply with spacing requirements. The change in gradient is going to put our wells down gradient from the property in question, which is lot number 1. It's also recommended that wells not be located down gradient. This is from the azimuth study I'm quoting. It's recommended that wells not be located down gradient of septic systems on adjacent properties, since this would increase the potential risk of contamination. So it's recognized by the engineering company who conducted a lengthy, extensive environmental impact study. And it was also recognized by WSP, who was the town's peer review of the original study. So all of the neighboring wells on Gordon Drive, myself, Len Loughran, and Martin Prost, will now be down gradient due to the necessary elevation changes required by the raised bed system. At least one of the wells is approximately 5 meters from the property line. So that is well within the minimum recommended of 18 meters from a wellhead to a septic bed. And I had information I was hoping to share, but obviously time won't allow it. The proposed the schematics for a site plan were also presented, and it shows the septic bed, quite a significant septic bed in size, located adjacent to the property line that separates our properties from the proposed Severance property. So there's significant concerns with regards to that issue. You've already heard a few of them. I also want to mention that no field investigation was conducted by GEI consultants in conjunction with the soil testing. So GEI was contracted by Azimuth and was provided with 2 soil samples from lot 3, I believe it was, which is considerable to the south of the property that we're talking about.
That's our time. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up is Donna Evans in regards to the decision of 1500 Sandy Bay Road.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
First time here. I hope I do okay. But I am appealing, or would like the council to rethink about their decision. We were all there at the meeting that night. I think it was made very clearly it was in favor for the developer because it was an online meeting.
Let's get you to move towards the microphone if you can.
The people could not get on to have their say at the time. It's clearly 2 professional evaluations have been done, both opposing one another. I haven't read so many pages from each one, but what I understand from others is that one is not in agreement with the other. So right there, why was a decision made to approve such a thing when you need a 3rd evaluation? Somebody else professionally that could come in there and have a water testing, find out where that water is going to drain. Because I think it was done with only 3 council members out of 5. And to me, that doesn't seem fair. And only one person, they waited at the end, put their little hand up, and then the other ones agreed. So it was almost like in favor. And it felt like for residents who have been here, tried and true, you are opening up for the new people that come in and develop. On wetlands, previously it was environmentally protected. It got changed to rural. Somebody said that's still environmentally protected, but no, it's not. You're whittling away little bits of it, and it's only to benefit the developer and not the residents who have been here for 30, 40, 50 years. And I really think that they should change the decision on that until further information has been more data needs to be done on it. And none of the counselors had any, I don't even think they read those pages because it's excessive, the amount. And I couldn't get through it. I'm no expert, and I'm sure none of you would have been able to get through all those pages. It's ridiculous.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up is Carla Vant Irv in regards to 1500 Sandy Bay as well.
Welcome. Again, you have 2 minutes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I wasn't expecting this. I live on the other side of the T from the places in question, but they're all my neighbors and community members. And they have very legitimate concerns. We're all part of a community and everybody, and we're dealing with climate change. We know that some years we're not going to get a lot of rain, some years we're going to get a lot. Not a lot, some years a lot. Some years we're going to have a lot of snow, some years not. These properties are all downhill from a very steep hill, which means everything drains down and then crosses the road. It behooves me that in the time of climate change that we would be looking at putting a development on what used to be protected land. And it was protected land because it was part of a watershed. And so it could rain, it could snow, but there was trees and there was wetlands to deal with the runoff. But even then, and there are neighbors on the water side that have dealt with flooding issues because of all the water. So with the property developments, we're looking at cutting down trees. That takes care of, that would mean more runoff to deal with. And in the maps that we saw, it looked like very defined wetland areas. They're not defined. It depends on how much water comes down that year, how much snow comes down that year. So there are very legitimate issues with regards to water contamination, dealing with the water flow, et cetera, et cetera. And my neighbors and community will be impacted, and I'm here to support them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next up is R.T. Ingram in regards to the same topic, 1500 Sandy Bay Road.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Welcome, sir. You have 2 minutes, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I live on Gordon Drive. The point is, this has always been protected land until recently with changes in the government in Toronto. The ASMA study at the very bottom of page 14 even refers to the fact that you have to be really careful not to, basically, the allowance under the new rules for environmental protection suggests that this area could be eligible for provincial protection. It's right there on page 14. If you weren't careful about doing too much of the field work. So just thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Next is Terry Chaplin, same topic, 1500 Sandy Bay Road.
Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you for this opportunity. First, I'd like to reiterate a lot of what was said about the water, but there are a couple of other issues as well. A couple of endangered species that live there, the black ash and the brown bat. But of course, there's also the fact that we have experts, and when the experts don't agree, it's very hard to have confidence in their results. And that opens up a lot of issues, many that have already been stated, so I'm not going to go over them again. I guess the main thing is the health and safety is a primary issue, and I don't think people should gamble on health and safety.
right? You're not going to gamble because inevitably something's going to go wrong. And I know people don't want to be personally responsible for a tragedy. So we're appealing this, hoping that we'll get somebody to make the right decision. Our wetlands are challenged all over the province, not just here. But I think this would be a good example of someone standing up for the environment instead of profit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
There are 2 remaining residents registered. The next is Steve Graham, who is going to discuss the town dock.
Steve, before you come to the podium, we do have an open public meeting tonight where we'll have a presentation by Sejeki Planning regarding the town dock secondary plan and master plan. If you want to address it at that time, you're welcome to, but if you want 2 minutes now, I'll open it to you. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Next is Beth Prost in regards to 1500 Sandy Bay.
Thank you. Welcome. And again, we'll have 2 minutes, please.
Oh, good evening, Mayor and Council. You've heard all my neighbors, and we're really here at your mercy. We need to have proof that our water is going to be safe. It's going to continue to be safe, regardless of how you guys come to that decision. We're not covered or protected under the Severn Sound watershed. I've already checked, and I know there was a report. So we don't have protection. We need protection, and that's what we're asking you for. We need proof that we are going to be okay and our water is going to be safe. We're not big enough to be another Walkerton, but we don't want our water contaminated. Like, we're still people. So I asked tonight that council really look at what's out there, like all the information. Maybe another study could be required. We just need to know our water's safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk.
That is everyone registered. Your Worship, thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, is anyone online that wishes to address council tonight?
I do have a member of the public, Jamie Robinson. If you want to join now, this would be the opportunity. If not, that's okay.
Welcome. The floor is yours. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Worship, and members of council and members of the public. My name's Jamie Robinson. I'm a partner with MHBC Planning. We represent the applicant for Mr. Rakes, who's made the application that's been the subject of much of the discussion today. Having reviewed the correspondence, I just wanted to make a couple of key points quickly for council. First off, the proposal is to create 3 residential lots, which are similar in nature to the existing residential lots in the area. So there's been a lot of discussion about potential contaminants and pollution and impacts of septic systems. Again, these are lots that are similar in nature to what exists in the area currently. Secondly, all of the issues that have been raised have been addressed through various sub-consultants, both to the applicant and then peer review consultants for the municipality. And subsequent to that, municipal staff, planning staff has made a recommendation to Committee of Adjustment, which was to approve the application. So they addressed many technical issues, and it also addressed, including the environmental comments, comments related to the presence of a wetland, which it was staked and determined that there are no wetlands on the lands to be severed. As well as there was a hydro-G study or a servicing report completed related to the septic systems. And I just wanted to make a final point that through the building permit process, the lots would be subject to lot grading plans to deal with drainage, and there would be requirements for detailed information with respect to septics and soil reviews completed to make sure that the septics are appropriate and meet all health and environmental requirements with regards to those. So with that, Your Worship, I just wanted to provide those brief comments and indicate that in my professional opinion, based on what I've heard and what I've tonight and what I've read in the correspondence, my opinion is still that the applications are appropriate and represent good land use planning, and the various planning documents, the official plans and provincial planning statement are in conformity with and are consistent with those documents. So thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Sarah, is there anyone else online that wishes to address council on this?
Thank you. There is no one else online.
Thank you. And I'll give anyone else a final opportunity to address council on any matter. Okay. We don't always get a lot of these questions about the same thing, so just thinking on the fly. We did have one member, I think Mr. Prost, you provided a letter, which is on our council information package, which is available to the public. We did receive another letter today. I'll ask our CEO, Mr. Lees, can you please identify high level, what did we receive and how can members of the public receive that information?
Thank you, Your Worship. In addition to the letter from Mr. Prost, we did, as the mayor noted, we received a letter from MHBC Planning Consultants, Mr. Robinson, that council and the public just heard from. That letter is also included on our October 1st CIP on our COW agenda, which is the next meeting to follow this council meeting. It's available online and really provides a perspective from Mr. Robinson, similar to that of Mr. Prost in Mr. Prost's letter. Hopefully that addresses the question, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I appreciate that. A couple comments for everyone, and thank you for being here this evening. I just want to make some clarity. Committee of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body of this council, which council appoints. It's not made up of council members, so this table is not representative of our Committee of Adjustment. We do have one member, Councillor Vadabon-Kerr, sits on that committee. The rest of our council colleagues do not sit on that committee. We appoint members of the public to represent the municipality on there. And that body looks at decisions, makes decisions on consent, so things like severances and minor variances. And really, we rely on policy documents that council has approved and adopted. So we've talked about the official plan and zoning bylaw to guide decision-making. So I just want to set that from a clarity context for everyone. I just want to address one. So again, we received a lot of questions, but I'm going to refer to Mr. Pro's letter that you submitted to us. And again, thank you for that. In that letter, there was a couple questions that were raised, and I thank you for that because it gives us time to reflect, look at some documents, look at some data. I'm going to ask our director, Director Betty, if I can ask you a couple questions from the letter, if you could please help us with that. So one of the questions from this says, and I'm going to quote in the letter, these submissions gave various well-reasoned environmental objections. However, the most urgent issue was and is the potential contamination of the existing wells, several of which are immediately adjacent to the proposed Lot 1, and others are directly across the street. It was demonstrated by reliable evidence that at least some of these wells draw on high vulnerable aquifers, being vulnerable to runoff, both above ground and subterranean. And the letter goes on, it states it's also evident at the hearing, had not been addressed by professional assessments. For instance, the septic system servicing feasibility assessment shows that no test holes were dug and that only soil samples are taken from the proposed Lot 3. Director Betty, I know there's a lot there, but can you just give everyone a little bit of an understanding and I just want to get a little clarity on a couple of those points that were raised, if you can.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Certainly, I'll do my best here. And I think I'd probably refer to some of the comments that Jamie Robinson mentioned in his piece. So when we accept applications for development, we typically identify what's required to be submitted to the town in order for us to make an informed decision with this. So with this application, we did receive that septic and feasibility study that was submitted, and it has been reviewed by staff and determined that it has met all the policy and does conform to our documents itself. So they felt in their recommendations that this development could proceed and that there was no danger to drinking water with the appropriate design of each system on the lots itself. So similar to any study that we do, I'm not an expert in septics, and so we do have people take a look at that. And so together that, I think that was reviewed by our Director of Public Works. And then the environmental, for example, we had a third-party environmental consultant take a look at that one. So I know that wasn't specific to your question, but we rely on the experts to tell us and inform our recommendations with respect to applications.
Thank you, Director Betty. Okay, later in the evening, so tonight we're sitting at council. Council adjourns, we're going to move into Committee of the Whole. on committee of the whole, we will hear one item, which is called the council information package, where the letter from Mr. Prost was brought forward. At that time, any member of council can pull that letter and have further discussion. We could make a decision to go left, right, receive it for information. There is no motion on the floor right now. There's nothing on our agenda. There's nothing that speaks to this issue here tonight. So I just want everyone to set the stage. There is nothing before us that we're going to make a decision about why you're here and why you brought forward an appeal request tonight. The opportunity would be at that time when we look at that CIP, Council Information Package, a little later. That'd be the first time someone could introduce that. I'll say from my perspective, and again, thank you for reaching out with the questions. I did go back and look at Committee of Adjustment. I've reviewed all the materials. I've read all the materials. I have nothing but utmost confidence in our staff. I say it all the time. Our staff is the best staff around. I believe our staff did everything from a due diligence perspective and did a phenomenal job presenting a report to us with recommendations that conform with our official plan and conforms to best planning practices. From my perspective, I think all the boxes were checked, and I think the staff presented a great opportunity for us to look at, not negating what everyone brought forward tonight. Again, we'll give our council colleagues an opportunity to pull that and have further discussion, but I just want to set the stage from an expectation standpoint. So in council, there will not be a decision right now. Okay, we're going to move on, council. We're going to move on number 8, statement by members. Statement by members, an opportunity for council to share with you the work that they're doing on your behalf. Councillor Leroux.
Thank you, Your Worship. September 13th, I attended the Doors Open Ontario at Town Hall, Museum, and Sports Hall of Fame. On September the 17th, I attended downtown parking public meeting at Town Hall. September 24th, I attended a flag raising for Legion Week. Attended a flag raising for Franco-Ontario Day on September 25th, as well as taking part in the day's festivities with all our local French-speaking students from our local schools and along with Councillor DeRush. September 30th, I attended a flag lowering at Town Hall, followed by a Truth and Reconciliation event organized by Georgian Bay Women's Association, which included a smudging ceremony. And this afternoon, I attended the microtransit public meeting here in Council Chambers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Leroux. Councillor Marchand.
Thank you, Your Worship. I feel like I'm paling in comparison. I did attend our open doors here at Town Hall, and thank all the members of the community and our staff for really showing off all of our great equipment. And it was a really great day, and it was great to see lots of members from the community. And that was it for me. I was on a little bit of a hiatus, so that was all. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. We had representatives from the County of Simcoe at our open doors, and I believe they said we were the best out of the 16 municipalities, but I just want to put that in there. Councillor Vadavunker.
Just to follow up on Councillor Marchand, she said she was on a little bit of hiatus. I was on a long hiatus. I was out of the country for a couple of weeks and had a very nice, relaxing time, and glad to be back. Thank you.
Welcome back. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I was at a number of ones that were mentioned already. The one I did want to highlight a little bit was the microtransit PIC this afternoon. It was very well attended. We had lots of good questions, and our director did a good job of informing the residents of the town. Some of their worries were dispelled, so it was very worthwhile and nice to see.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor DeRush, please.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. It's great to see a full room of residents who are very engaged in their community, so thank you. I did attend a flag raising for Legion Week and National Breastfeeding Week, along with a flag lowering for the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. On September 25th, as mentioned by Councillor Leroux, I attended La Fête du Drapeau Franco-Ontarien. It was a 50th anniversary. It was held at Le Caron, and it was a lot of fun. We really I was very impressed with the atmosphere at the school. I also attended the commemoration of the history and legacy of the residential school system, and that was held at our amphitheater here in Penetanguishene. And a big shout out, thank you to the Georgian Bay Native Women's Association who helped organize, who actually organized the event and had us join in. I also attended last evening the Age Friendly Recognition Awards, which is a great event that's held at the County of Simcoe. And this is where we recognize champions of age-friendly communities. And 13 businesses received recognition awards along with 7 individuals. And we were very proud to have our very own Beth Dubo receive an award as an individual, and rightfully so, because she does so much. She's done so much and continues to do so much in our community to make it an age-friendly space for all. So congratulations to Beth. And this afternoon, I also attended the Microtransit public information session, which was very, very informative. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rush. Last night was a great evening. People came to us afterwards saying, wow, Penetanguishene's well represented because most of the town was there. But we'll also recognize Councillor Marshaw. Shigamik won, was recognized for your work as well in age-friendly work. So congratulations to you and your team. Thank you, Councillor Rush. Councillor Waters.
Excuse me. On the 13th, we had the doors open like everybody else. I got to hand out some cupcakes, eat a few of them myself. We've had lots of flags that went up and flags that went down and for all kinds of important events. And just as a reminder, should anybody be having a flag raising, we also have lights available that can be changed colors at the Angels. They contact our director. She's pointing to somebody. There we go. Contact the town and they'll arrange to have the lights put on. We did the National Truth and Reconciliation with the town of Midland. I was glad to see some of those folks come over, as well as most of our staff was down there as well. And it was kind of an emotional time for a lot of people. This week we had Economic Development Committee, Finance and Community Services, and that was it.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. Seal Lees, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple things. It's already been noted about September 30th, National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Thank you to the Georgian Bay Native Women's Association for their support and leadership, but also thank you to our HR team internally, Christina and Jess, who really helped kind of coordinate this day and event, and happy to partner with our friends at the town of Midland. We had members of council as well as staff that supported the Franco-Ontarian 50th anniversary, as was noted, on September 25th. September 22nd and September 23rd, HR internally organized customer service training. So we put our entire staff through a full day of training over a 2-day period, which was great training and great reminders and a great opportunity to ensure that service excellence continues to be a priority here at the town. September 13th event was noted, really a tri-party event that the town hosted to support the Week of Welcome through the County of Simcoe. Our doors open, and we had 3 sites here in the town, as well as our Penetanguishene 150 celebrating as a village. So a fantastic event, tremendous staff support between the museum, Sports Hall of Fame, and here at Town Hall. And I commend staff and the public for their participation. And then last but not least, for those that are aware, there's been a wildland fire that has been burning for 50 plus hours in the town of Gravenhurst, up to 5 hectares. Seems to be under control, but we are sending support from our volunteer fire department, 2 firefighters, along with many other Simcoe County departments, to support our friends in the District of Muskoka tomorrow, in hopes that it can be finally put to bed and be entirely in control. So certainly something that we're happy to do and proud to support our friends, whether it be here in Simcoe County or in the District of Muskoka or elsewhere. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Lees. I won't repeat everything my colleagues have mentioned, just a couple. Council, I did meet with representatives from the Geopark in the last month, and we'll have some update in the near future. I did with staff meet with a developer regarding some development opportunities in the community. We've almost concluded our Main Street walkabouts. We've done 4 days. We think we probably have a half day left. Main Street walkabouts, we get an opportunity to go meet with our business community and see how we can help and what the roadblocks are and how things are. And I think we're hearing some great things. And this year it's interesting. We're hearing from several businesses that are talking about expanding and how we can help with that. So it's been exciting. I was able to go to the Villa Retirement Lodge 40th anniversary and the grand opening of the new Villa Lodge. That was great. I participated in the Battle of Britain's Reef Lane. We talked about Truth and Reconciliation events. I also went to the Georgian Bay Native Friendship Center in the morning. They did a great event, and I was proud to be there. Council, we'll hear something in the near future, probably around budget time. The Decorating Divas, who've done a lot of tremendous work in town that we know that they've done, they're doing a new plan to reinvigorate the main street. So Decorating Divas are going to have a new name, a new twist, but stay tuned because there's some really exciting things that you're going to hear about when we come through budget and into the near future. I also participate, Council, in our Simcoe Auto Mayors Conference, really about how we can help that auto manufacturing industry that we've talked about. And again, that's the work that Council is doing on your behalf, and thanks, Council, for sharing. All right, let's move on. Nine's proclamations. We have a few of them this evening, Council. Before I read them, does anybody want to pull any further comments or questions? Okay. So the motion reads that the following proclamation have given due consideration be approved. The first one's regarding Water and Wastewater Operators Appreciation Day, October 23rd, 2025. The next one is Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Education Appreciation Day, October the 21st, 2025. Small Business Week, October the 19th to the 25th, 2025. And Local Government Week, October 19th to the 25th, 2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Marchand. We'll call the vote. All in favor? And opposed. That is carried. Number 10 is our public meeting. This is regarding our presentation regarding the Town Dock Secondary Plan and Master Plan. So just so then everyone's aware, we've done a lot of work as a community regarding our Town Dock Secondary Plan and Master Plan. I think we've done a lot of engaging with community. This is not an official public meeting under the Planning Act. We will be doing that in the new year. So there's still more steps. So what we're going to talk about, what we're going to review tonight, we really want engagement and feedback from community because we're going back for a final review of what this looks like. Who will be presenting, Mr. Sajecki? Yeah, Director Betty, can you just introduce?
Certainly. Thank you very much, Your Worship. So I'm happy to present or have David Sajecki, I believe, come online, who's going to do a presentation, a high-level overview of where we've been and where the recent changes, which is the more focused conversation we want to hear from the public tonight. So with that, I will turn it over to David.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Betty, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Perhaps we could just share our screen. Is everyone able to hear me okay?
Hi, David. We can hear you. We cannot see you. I'm happy to share your presentation if you don't have it available.
If you can share the presentation, I'll do one. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. As mentioned, my name is David Sajecki, and we've been working on the Town Dock Secondary Plan and Master Plan for about six years now. So it's been a long process. I'll speak to that process and looking forward to providing an overview of where we're at with the master plan. So next slide, please. Thank you. So today what I'm going to walk through is the project process to date. I'm going to provide an update on the revised master plan, provide an update on the revised secondary plan, speak briefly to next steps, and then I'll turn it back to Council for questions and answers. Next slide, please. The first item I'm going to speak to is the project process, and just start with the study purpose. So why is the secondary plan being completed? It was identified in the 2019 to 2023 Community Strategic Plan as an area of particular importance and requiring further study as investment is required in the near future. But prior to this future investment, the town needs to identify the potential opportunities that exist to create a long-term plan for the town dock. In terms of what the secondary plan is looking to achieve, it will lay the foundation for the town dock as well as waterfront fall seasons. And the vision is to develop a town dock that celebrates the town's history and culture, that fosters linkages to parkland and the downtown, and one that enhances the public access. So next slide, please. In terms of the vision for the town dock, on the left-hand side of the screen, we have a series of design directions that we work with the town as well as the community to develop. Those include connected and accessible, open, welcoming and inviting, flexible and adaptable, one that reflects the area's heritage and culture, a sustainable first master plan, and one that also looks to maximize the economic potential of the area. So in terms of the vision, we developed a vision that reads, this is from the vision statement, the town dock will be an active and vibrant destination that reflects Penetanguishene's heritage and culture. It will serve as a centralized public space that is safe and inclusive, with spectacular views of the water that can be enjoyed and accessed to year-round. Its connections to downtown will be enhanced through opportunities that support the local community and economy. So next slide, please. And this slide really speaks to the process that has been underway since the kickoff, which was in November, December 2020. As part of the process, the consultant team, we've been working with town staff as well as the technical advisory and the public to develop the vision and master plan options for the town dock. The final secondary master plan, including supporting policies in the process summary, were presented at a public open house and statutory meeting in September of 2022.
David,
yes,
your audio is less than ideal, and we're getting a lot of bad feedback. I don't know if you can work on correcting that.
Sorry, let me see if I can find. Is that a bit better now?
Keep going, and we'll try it. If not, we'll let you know.
Okay, sorry about that. So following the 2022 public meeting, there is direction from council to create a new technical advisory committee to guide the project relaunch. We had our first meeting in February 2024, and in total there were 8 technical advisory committee meetings, 2 of which were focused on a parking strategy that was prepared by Lee Consulting. And then following that, there were 3 meetings that were held with the technical advisory committee to discuss how the master plan should be refined in the context of these findings. And that brings us to effectively where we are at today with the public meeting. Following this, though, there will be further public consultation, revisions to the secondary plan and master plan this winter, and a statutory public meeting is looking to be scheduled for winter of 2026. So next slide, please. We can take the next slide. So this highlights the existing study area. That's the area outlined in red. I won't go through, you can see the legend on the left-hand side of the screen. I won't go through all of the stats, but currently, and parking has been a major point of discussion throughout the process. So I will highlight that currently there are approximately 201 parking spaces. And it's an area of 15,500 meters squared that is dedicated today for parking, and that's between the paved and the unpaved parking lots. And next slide, please. And this slide speaks to the revised master plan. One of the key changes, I'll walk through the key changes in a bit more detail, but if we look at the legend, Area 1 is a new public plaza that would be located to the north of the existing parking lot. Area 2 is a location of a waterfront kiosk. 3 is a relocated tourist information center. 4 is a location identifying public amenities and washrooms. Item 5 is the potential for a relocated dock lunch with an elevated viewing deck above it. Area 7, just in front of the public amenity, is located for a shuttle drop-off that would provide access to the cruise boat. Number 8 includes loading space both for the restaurant as well as for the cruise ship. Number 10 is an area for flexible parking. Number 9, that's a significant area that is located for car and trailer parking. And I want to mention on this too, it's a slight increase for the area that is dedicated to parking. So it's approximately 16,000 meters square. The detailed design of this, mainly the later and associated circulation, have not been determined as part of this master plan, but it is identified to accommodate at least as many parking spaces as exist on site today. And it will identify as well too that the boat launch, which is item number 12, is located in the same location as before. STP access route would include the same route, just adjacent to a sewage treatment plant. And there would be access when needed for trucks to be able to drive along the wharf up to the tour boat service access where the cruise ship would be located. So next slide, please. Just to identify a few of the key changes. So the uses on the waterfront community as originally proposed. The existing area dedicated to parking is proposed to be maintained and slightly expanded. Clearly defined entry and exit points have been established. So Main Street has been reordered to provide
David, we're getting a lot of feedback on your back. A lot of background noise. It's distracting.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find something a little bit quieter. I'm almost at the end of the presentation. If we move to this slide, it just includes that the alignment of the boat ramp has been optimized to allow for smooth maneuvering. And there is a new four-way intersection that will be normalized at the intersection of Main Street and Long. So next slide, please. And then if we can just go to the revised secondary plan. What I'd like to highlight for this is that consistent with the original secondary plan, it's anticipated that the revitalization of the town dock will occur over a 15-year period. Phase one, which is to occur over the next 5 years, those are more on lower cost and temporary interventions. And it includes what we're calling a 4x4 challenge that I'll speak to next. In this phase, the dock lunch remains in the same location as in phase one, whereas phase two is when you start to look at full implementation. The next slide, please. This is the 4x4 challenge, and it includes 4 years. This is a commitment to gradually increase activities at the town dock over 4 years, 4 events, which is to introduce a marquee event each season, 4 seasons, meaning that there are no write-off seasons, so different activities in the spring, summer, fall, and winter. And there should also be 4 reasons for each event. So what is it that offers the broad participants? And next slide, please. This slide just speaks to some of the implementation tools. The secondary plan will form an official plan amendment and become part of the official plan. But in terms of other implementation tools needed to realize the vision, would involve updated zoning regulations, development of themes and detailed design for both the parkland as well as the parking, a wayfinding and branding strategy, a parking management plan, an economic development strategy, and a municipal capital development strategy. So next slide, please. And this just speaks to the next steps. I already spoke to this briefly, but further public consultation this fall, moving to revisions to the secondary plan late winter 2025, 6, and then the statutory public meeting in Q1 of 2026, moving towards council adoptions for 6. So with that, I can turn it back just for if there are any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Director Betty, anything you want to highlight from the presentation before we open up to the residents for comments?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I will try and speak briefly to this, but as David mentioned in his presentation, this project has been ongoing for a number of years, and there's been a bit of a pause while we work through some of these details that was spoke to at our 2022 public meeting that we had. And so because of that, we haven't had an opportunity to go to the public with all the revisions that have happened since then. So we do really want to hear feedback from the community on all aspects of the plan, and noted that this is really intended to be a very high level vision for the town dock area. There will be future decision points with respect to very detailed design that will talk to the number of parking spaces or the specific locations of buildings and so forth. So I do want to say that this is a land use planning study. It isn't an engineering detailed design. So I would appreciate keeping sort of high level visionary ideas with respect to the documents. Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you, Director Betty. And just to reiterate, there's still lots of opportunity for people to contribute, but we want to hear from the public now. I'm going to commend our committee. I think our committee has done a lot of great work. And I think part of the work from the committee is we want to hear from the public. And that's our commitment to you. So we want to hear from the public. So we're going to open the floor. Anybody that would like to address council? We're not going to have a two-way debate. So what we're looking for is we want your feedback on what works, what doesn't work, and how do we make any adjustments. Your information will be documented, and staff will be taking that away for further considerations by committee. And again, there will be another formal public information in the future. And I'll ask Mr. Graham, you want to come forward at the open forum, so floor is yours, sir. Why don't you start us off?
Good evening. Your Worship, Mayor Rawson, Deputy Mayor LaRose, councillors, and other interested parties. My name is Steve Graham. I'm a Penetanguishene resident and one of the 6 volunteers serving on the Technical Town Dock Advisory Committee, along with 3 members of council. As was once said, it's deja vu all over again. Not to be flippant, but I think it is important, the importance with which we hold the future of the town dock, that this process has been so fraught. We've been struggling with plans for the town dock revitalization for more than 40 years now. This is a brief history of the process as seen by an interested citizen and TDAC volunteer, being me. In the beginning, we saw many fantastical and impractical scenarios proposed. One iteration even saw the launch ramp blocked by a floating walkway. At this point, I'm declaring that I am a launch ramp user. It is a privilege to do so. It's also a privilege to launch my 14-year-old boat with my 12-year-old vehicle for a little over $200 a year, as opposed to paying approximately $4,000 per year to dock it at a local marina. Sometimes privilege has negative connotations, but to me it is a privilege to serve the TDAC, and every day I consider it a privilege to live in this town. Penetang is a town of many boaters. Drive down any residential street and on almost every block, a boat on a trailer will be seen. If not, 2 will be seen in the next block. The drastic changes seen early on resulted in considerable public pushback. This led to the creation of the ad hoc TDAC by the council previous to the current one. Guidance to the TDAC from the previous council made specific requests for land use appropriation, green space, pedestrian areas, etc. This division of available space was at odds with the current area of parking. Never in my experience has that word been such a lightning rod for discussion, put it politely. To say the committee was polarized on this subject would be a gross understatement. With the advice from a senior council member on the committee, it was conveyed that the original council's land use requirements was not a hard and fast rule. It took a long time to get to that. The TDAC should make our recommendations to council as we think best. A parking study, including but not limited to the town dock, was commissioned. The results of the parking study in broad terms was that we need to retain a large percentage of the parking we currently have. The plan now before council incorporates the parking study recommendations. It is, however, in the estimation of some TDAC members, including myself, incomplete. Though not trying to excuse ourselves of this oversight, there was committee fatigue and the presence and the pressure to get something before council. I, and I'm sure many other committee members, agree with the statements made by Deputy Mayor LaRose at the August 13th council meeting. See our town's YouTube channel starting at about 3 hours and 30-minute mark if you want to see
Mr. Grimm, I'm going to ask you if you can get to a point. We've presented a plan and we're asking the public for their feedback on the plan. I'm not looking for historical context. If you can please just make a point, what would you like to see different on this plan first? Ask feedback, please.
I'm getting to that right now, Your Honor. To summarize Deputy Mayor LaRose's remarks, we need to segregate paid and unpaid parking. We need to determine if an entry from Beck Boulevard as a continuation of Wolf Street is viable. The plan presented impedes the provisioning of cruise ships and other commercial vessels docked at the concrete pier. Access to the T-dock for seasonal permit holders moving goods to and from their boats is impeded. I think I've summarized Mr. LaRose's comments, but if I've made any mistakes, I'm sorry. To which I wish to add, no handicap parking has been allotted on the plan. There is too much potential interaction between vehicles and pedestrians. This potential exists now, but has not, to my knowledge, led to injuries or worse. This oversight needs to be rectified on any plan we present. When I look on back and where we started, much progress has been made, but we aren't at the finish line yet. My request to council is that the committee be allowed to address these remaining issues. To that end, I'd like to propose a radical solution. In my estimation, we have been approaching this from the wrong direction. We have been tasking our planning consultants with too little direction. They design something, we say we don't like it, show us something else. Not a recipe for a speedy solution. Just about finished. I propose that the 9 voting committee members get our hands dirty with paper, pencils, whiteboards, or whatever else comes to hand and fine tune the existing plan, the one presented this evening, to something we all feel is worthy of submitting to council. At that point, it can go back to Sajecki and Co. to make a pretty picture of it. Only then can we have something worthy of submission to council and hopefully on to county. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. Earlier tonight, we had open forum, and this council updated our procedure bylaw, and our procedure bylaw provided members of the public to address council on any matters that you'd like to do. We time limit that to 2 minutes. This is a public information meeting. We're looking for your feedback. We really want your information, how we can look at the town dock differently. With respect, we're not looking for a historical review. We know what's happened. We believe we're a consultant, but we want to hear from you. How can we make this plan the best plan that meets your needs? So if you can please keep your comments succinct, please don't repeat, and please keep it on point. How can we make this plan better? We really want to hear the feedback. Floor is yours. And we're not limiting this to 2 minutes. I want to hear good information on how you can bring this forward. Who would like to come to the podium and address how you see the master plan for the town dock, the next phase better? Yeah, the floor is yours. I'll have you go. Well, I have you go to the podium, please, because we broadcast this and people, the public, participate, and we record them, and it helps us to have a record.
I want to stand here. First of all, that plan looked boring. I think you need to think outside the box a little bit and come up with something that maybe is unique to Penetang. I found that a little bit boring. That's all I can say. I think they can do better than that. I don't know the committee that works on it, but be interesting to see what kind of ideas they did have or do have. Sorry.
That's the feedback we want. When you said that, I won't call out, but a council member to my right did say at the beginning of this process, we need to be bold. And I appreciate your boring comment. We need to be unique. Okay, who else would? Yes, the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Brenda. I'm a bit nervous, but anyway, I live on Wolf, and I love my street, and I love the town dock, and I spend lots of time there with my dog, and it's a great place to hang out and look over the water at the sunsets and meditate and meet people, and has a great opportunity. For me as a water user, I think there's a couple of key things missing, which would be launching a kayak or canoe launch, which is a pretty low-key way to enjoy the water. I don't think there is one in our area. Usually I drag my kayak over to the beach and launch it in, but it would be easier and probably safer for people to have an actual launch to use. And just in terms of the overall plan itself, I like things that are more down to earth, that are connected and showcase more of a natural environment. So that would just be my opinion, to keep it low key and concentrate on the beauty and the natural environment, and not blocking the sunset view, not blocking people's ability to see across the bay and enjoy what we have here. And the other thing, I think, just in terms of access to water and water use, we should also consider, introduction to paddling sports, getting people on the water. We've got the tour boats and some private tour boats, but it would be nice to have an opportunity for people who don't have an introduction to water to learn how to kayak, how to canoe, or whatever, some other opportunities as such. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Lois, the floor is yours.
I like your comment. There needs to be more vibrancy. There needs to be a reason to come down to the waterfront. If the reason is to launch your boat, then you are satisfying the privileged few that can only pay $200 a year to launch a boat. But if you're trying to attract visitors to come and launch their boats and explore our areas, then provide more opportunities to do that. Begin with the end in mind. As a former planner, I've written a lot of plans with, and no offense to planners, motherhood statements. We want to attract more visitors and more residents to come to the waterfront. What the heck does that mean? What are they going to come down there for when they see hardscape? They don't see activities. They don't see elements that create interest. One of the best things you can do is go to some of the most vibrant waterfront communities, whether it's Petoskey, Michigan. When I went there by boat, I was blown away by what they have done in their waterfront. Anybody here been to Petoskey, Michigan? Probably. There you go. Did you like it? So you went right by the waterfront. You went right by the water. Go to Chicago. Okay, we are not the magnitude of Chicago, but what are the elements in Chicago's waterfront that make it so exciting, that make people want to go there? Hardscapes, which this plan has a lot of, that's pavements and concrete areas. They're vibrant when they're full of food trucks and no offense, Nick, food trucks and activities going on. But those activities have to be there. It's not just 4 elements, 4 seasons, that sort of thing. We talked about the views. All the views shown in the plan are out to the water. Anybody sat down at the town dock at night and looked towards St. Anne's Church, looked towards the town? It is one of the most spectacular views this town has. This plan only highlights views to the water. The water is wonderful, but there are other views. We have a magnificent view to up to the town. In the hardscaping areas, for example, not to pull the plan apart, but and I'm happy to write this down. There's no benches. There's no benches for people to sit on. It's just a big open hardscape area. Not really sure what those hardscape areas are supposed to do. We need to look at a more cohesive connection. It talks about connections to the downtown. What about the connections to Rotary Park that we already have? This big, huge, beautiful dock that's been built out in the waterfront on the other side, farther west. Nobody goes there. Nobody uses it. It gets put back in the spring and it gets hauled back over and stored somewhere else for the winter. Nobody ever goes and docks there. Why did the town spend so much money on that? So before we start spending money on stage 1, stage 2, constructing, demolition, more constructing, we need to drill down on some of those areas. So anyway, there's a lot of things, but the big thing for me is look at the best elements. Steal from the best. It's a compliment to the cities and the waterfront areas that have already done a good job. Steal those elements, compliment those cities for what they have been able to do and what they have been able to attract. That's how I think you bring the best elements in, not by starting from the end, from the beginning and saying, oh, we have a blank canvas, what can we draw? Start with the end in mind. Who are you serving? Who are the residents that you're serving? If you want to serve residents that only want to pay $200 a year, no offense, $200 a year to launch your boat because it's a steal of a deal, well, you know, that's nice, but it's my tax dollars that are supporting you. And it's the people that, you know, that live on the other side or in the middle of town that are supporting you to only have to pay $200 a year. That's a bonus. If you want to attract visitors, who are you going to attract? Are the people that are coming to the cruise ships? If it's the people that are coming to the cruise ships, then you have to provide parking. So again, begin with the end in mind and drill down on who those people are. What are the segments of the population? Are you trying to attract transient boaters of 40 foot plus? If you are, then you need showers. If you're not, you don't need to build showers because transient boaters of 30 feet and less don't need showers. They're only there for the day, or they're taking the boat up to visit somebody's cottage.
So let's ask if you can just bring it in, please.
Anyway, so there's a whole bunch of different elements like that I think you need to go back and start almost at square one. I think there's some wonderful elements in the plan, but what it lacks is vibrancy. It lacks that life.
Thank you. Any other members would like to give their comments? Welcome.
My name is Susan Robillard, and I won't repeat everything that people have already said. I just have two very basic points that I want to make. One is which I think is very needed parking for our guests that use our dock and launch pad and everything else. Will there be a buffer between the parking area and the sewage treatment? Because we've all been at the amphitheater where the wind is blowing the wrong direction and it's pretty foul. And even though I live way on top of the hill, we can certainly still smell it there. And the other thing, if we have any desire to keep the tour boats here, and I do declare that it's my father and brother who had the tour boat Georgian Queen from up until 2014. The fuel truck can't get to that tour boat in the current plan. So they have no way to fuel.
Thank you, Susan. Appreciate your comments. I believe we had someone in the back that wanted to come up. Yep. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
So hi, I'm Diane Duresh. I'm a resident of Penetang, and I am a boater and I enjoy the launch ramp. We've been to some of these meetings and have, seen the different diagrams and plans. And I think I liked what I saw tonight. I agree with some of the comments. For sure, you want to make it appealing and beautiful and an attraction. So I just feel like there should be some consideration to the fact that we live in a historical town and we have the naval base down the street, like maybe build on that theme. People come to an attraction. Sorry, I was making notes as I was listening here, but it's a destination that people want to go to now. They get in their car, they drive places. So it would be a pretty thing to see, if you had the buildings decorated a certain way instead of that paved idea that people talked about in just your basic cement buildings. When you think of going to Niagara Falls, there's a lot of streets and cement and that sort, but they bring in flowers and the floral arrangements. And I was there recently and I thought, wow, what a difference that makes. And I know we do that through the town, but if you're making it a destination, to consider even those small things that can be inexpensive and people can look at, volunteering to do the gardens and that sort of thing. I know those plans are here with the town already. We have a lot of greenery. I walk the waterfront almost every day. So it would be a beautiful piece to be added to the end of it. And just to, I think it could be a destination, and I'll put a plug for Tiny Town. If they can get the amount of people they do for the work that they've done, and it is beautiful, we can do that in the town and have that destination where, the world is changing, and everywhere you go now, you see us with cell phones and people want to take a selfie and they want to post it. And I've been to places where they have selfie state. There's an X on the ground going, beautiful selfie here. And you stand there and there's beautiful sunset behind you, or there's where the pretty flowers are, the landmark that people can actually capture. And then post, this is where I was in Penetang and this is where I've been. And then it attracts other people's, which obviously, then can really help the town and our businesses grow and maybe, bring a theme that goes right up the main street of Penetang where people will want to change their business frontage so that they can also contribute to what's attracting people to our area. So those are my notes.
Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to? Yes.
My name is Dave Cordes. I'm a lifetime member of Penetang. I'm pretty concerned with the parking situation at the ramp in relation to launching. There's 325 ramp passes that are sold every year down there. That was the number that were sold this year. And with the spaces of 55, that only covers like 16% of those ramp passes. And then you get a lot of other people who just come and use the ramp day by day and pay that way. So there's definitely a very big need or want of using the ramp down there. And I feel that we should keep them spaces or even more, because you're doubling the number of parking spaces for single vehicle cars. And I feel we're losing a lot of spaces at the ramp with this plan.
Thank you for your comments. Any other? Yep, floor is yours.
Yeah, I can only tell you what I've noticed when I looked at the plan just now. It seems to be all about cars, not people. So I say less parking, not more. Maybe there has to be a shuttle with parking somewhere else, but if you want to attract people to the town dock, the wisdom that I've learned from is that if you want pedestrians down there and people gathering at the town dock, you got to have at least 10 attractions for people to go there. I can't think of 10 off the top of my head, but I wrote a few down. There can be markets, games, food. We already talked about food trucks, performances, small performances by musicians, theater, art, teaching of water sports was mentioned. Those are just a bunch. And we can think of a bunch more. And we also have to have attractions for seniors, young people, teenagers, children, and in between. And if you get attractions for all of those, you'll have at least 10. But I think that's really the consideration is that, yeah, do we want this town dock populated with people or vehicles?
Thank you for your comments. Do we have anyone else like to address?
Hi, my name is Edna. I live on Wolf Street. And looking at your new plan, you're going to make Wolf Street a four-way stop. We have a lot of children on our street, and my concern would be more traffic on our street. We already have big transports going up our street now as it is from the sewage disposal plant. I really like the plan otherwise. And the other thing that I was concerned about, when you put that four-way stop in, you're taking away our Christmas tree that we light up every Christmas. And our trees. You're talking about green space, you're taking away the green space. That's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Fred?
I sure didn't come out here tonight to talk about this stuff. But one of the things that I hear, destination, attraction, the one thing missing in this town has been missing forever. Anybody got the idea? Accommodation, a hotel. Morton Lynn and I approached town, before he died. He'd been gone for a number of years now. And council sort of washed their hands of this whole thing. We had a plan for the waterfront, something like Mystic Seaport in Connecticut. A little town of 4,000 people. They get 400,000 visitors a year. And we have the perfect setup here for that. I won't go to that part now, but anyways, tick me off. But we need a hotel. We can't be a destination if we don't have it. People come into the town. They go and stay in Midland. They eat in Midland. Simple as that. Okay?
Thank you. Any other buddy wish to address council on this matter? This is an important community item, right? We've had a lot of public consultation. We really want to hear from you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council. My name is Michael Lee. I'm the owner of Landmark Cruises. So we have the Legacy in the harbor. Thank you for your awesome welcome 4 years ago. We now have the George and Queen. They're both attracting lots of people, and we have lots more ideas to make them better and to attract more people. The whole business of cars, I remember when we first came here, I may be on record as saying, I'm from Tobermory. So Tobermory is only 300 people. We have 1 million visitors in Tobermory, and most of them are day trippers. Excuse me. We are working with, first of all, most of the people who come to Tobermory, 95% of them are East Indian descent. Those are the people who are driving the economy in Tobermory. We're working with affiliate partners right now in the GTA to try and bring more people to Penetanguishene. I may be on record as saying that you could do without the parking at the town dock. But that is based on the premise that there is other parking close by. In Tobermory, there's a certain amount of parking that the municipality owns, and all the rest of it is provided by the private tour boat companies. And they're only one street back from the harbor. And they have shuttle buses from one street back, bringing people down to their docks. We have our own private property and dock space and parking lots in Tobermory as well. But our tour boats are in Penetanguishene. Why is that? First of all, Parks Canada only allowed 2 boat companies to drop people off on Flower Pot Island. So actually, how I ended up in Penetanguishene, I bought the Miss Midland, took it to Tobermory in the hopes that I could get Parks Canada to open up their delivery of passengers to Flower Pot Island to more than 2 companies. I was able to get them to open up as a bid, but I didn't win the bid. They took the 2 incumbents who were there. I was still operating, and I brought the boat, the Miss Midland, back down here to put it up on the railroad for the winter. And Steve Robillard said, Mike, why don't you operate out of Penetanguishene? I know the mayor. I'll talk to him, and I'll bet you he would welcome you in Penetanguishene. And he did. But this business of the parking, it is essential. So whether you have it right on the town dock or whether you have it a street back, I haven't seen any large tracts of land for parking, a street back, or even a half a dozen streets back. If it's there, I'd like to see it. But people coming to take part in a cruise or some other activity, such as what we have had going on the George and Queen, and we have more plans to open it up. I daydream all the time. That's what I do. It takes time and money to put all of these things into place. And for anything that any private enterprise is going to have in the town of Penetanguishene, they're going to have to make money or they won't be there long. So we do have some plans. I'm not going to just open them up right now as to what they are, but with the boats, and it's all about boats and water. I grew up in the commercial fishing business in Tobermory. I've been around the water all my life, and that's home to me. And this is a beautiful town. It's historic, and anything that's overly shiny and new isn't really historic. So if you're going to plug the town of Penetanguishene as a historic town of Penetanguishene and the harbor, it's got to be historic. Somebody talked about Petoskey. There are all kinds of other places around the Great Lakes, up and down the seaboard. And when they're not historic, they dress them up to make them look historic. They give them the old time feel. Mistakes have been made in Tobermory too. Some of the government buildings, for instance. I was in an airport in Vancouver, and actually at the dock from Vancouver over to Victoria. They had all kinds of shops in there. There's something that could have taken place with the government building that was put into Tobermory back in 1975. the place that it replaced, I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's a little town downtown, and then there's the ferry dock. The ferry dock area rivaled the downtown area. It had all kinds of really neat little shops, handicraft houses, little restaurants. All that was taken away, and this big shiny building was put there in its place. And when I looked at that place in Vancouver, where everybody was catching the ferry, it was, I mean, I looked at it and I went, why wasn't something like that done in Tobermory to consider all the other little shops and things that could be put right there near the water? I mean, it's a great opportunity. You've got the space down there. Me, as a boat operator, I wouldn't want to be trying to do this business without any parking. I was talking to somebody the other day and we said, you know, the area down there is just tired. It could be spruced up and take some of these things that these other faraway places are doing to make their place look old and historic. But it's very interesting, like just something like you go to those places up and down the East Coast, they'll have because of, you know, the whaling industry and the pirates and all that stuff, they have a place for somebody to stick their hands and their head in and take a picture. You know, we could do that with our cruise boats. So right now, we bring a lot of people into the wheelhouse, put a captain's hat on them, take their picture, and they're happy as heck. We could have just something on the dock that allowed people to put their head in something, and it would show them being in the wheelhouse of one of these ships.
Mr. Lee, thank you for your comments. If you got more about the design and the vision, I hear you about activities, but
I just wanted to let you know the theme that I envision for it. And of course, I'm interested in my side of it, which is the cruise boats. So if you got it parking somewhere else.
thank you for coming. Don't go too quick. I know Mr. Lee, I should know your name by now, right? Mr. Lee is our CEO. We would like to talk to you. We did our Main Street walkabout. We missed you. I know Nicole from our EDO is here. So, but just connect with him before you go. Don't leave the building too quickly. Thank you. Anybody else wish to address any issues, comments, ideas? Sarah, anyone online that would like to address?
Thank you. We have no one online anymore.
Last chance. Anyone here would like to address council? All right, council, we're going to move on. Number 11 is delegations and presentations. Council, this evening we have Nicole Hilton with us, who is our Economic Development Officer with the County of Simcoe. For members of the public, we have partnered with the County of Simcoe to provide economic development support to our business community. We feel that's a strong thing that this community wants to do. We want to double down and help our businesses. One thing we did is we worked with our friends from the County of Simcoe, and we said the County of Simcoe has tremendous bench strength with economic development, and we wanted to leverage the county. So we worked through that process. We have a formal agreement with the County of Simcoe, and we're now leaning on the county to provide us that support. So I'm proud to introduce Nicole Hilton, who's an Economic Development Officer with the County of Simcoe, who is working 2 days a week here in the municipality supporting our business interests. Nicole's been with us since June, but has already made a tremendous impact. I know she's been out with myself and Jeff Lees on our business walkabouts. And well, thanks for joining us, Nicole. And I know you have a presentation you'd like to guide us through. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you very much for having me today. Members of council, nice to see you and meet some of you. You stole my introduction, so there you go. No, that's all good. That's perfect. I'll just scoot on down over here. But I am happy to be here tonight, and it's such an amazing honor, and it's such an exciting opportunity to join the team here in Penetangwisheen, and I have been very warmly welcomed ever since I have joined. We can. Oh, perfect slide there. So actually, I'm going to get you to go back one. Thank you. To share a bit more details about my focus here in Penetanguishene. So I'm going to be supporting and focusing on growing the local economy by directly working with our business community, our community partners, as well as our regional stakeholders to create opportunities for investment, innovation, and sustainable development. I'll look to provide targeted services focused on business retention and expansion initiatives, downtown revitalization, corporate outreach, and strategic communications. As mentioned, so far I've had the pleasure to join CAO Lees and Your Worship Mayor Rawson on 3 of our 4 business walkabouts. And it's been a fantastic opportunity to join them, to become familiar with the area, as well as our local businesses, and to hear firsthand of the opportunities for support. Further to that, I have worked with our communication team to add more business resources and supports on our town page to be more accessible to our business community. And I am participating on the Economic Advisory Committee, and I've taken on the responsibility of leading the Shop Local campaign and celebration this year. I am really looking forward to working and collaborating with council, staff, and the community to ensure these efforts align with Penetanguishene's priorities. Thank you. So yes, I am here tonight to speak to the Small Business Week with you. And to begin, I thought I'd share a bit more information about this, about the week and its purpose. So this is a national initiative led by the Business Development Bank of Canada, or better well known as the BDC. And with events taking place across the country, it is dedicated to recognize the hard work, innovation, and resilience of entrepreneurs and small business owners as are on the impact they have on our communities and to the broader economy. As we celebrate this national recognition of small businesses, I'd like to take a moment to share how Penetanguishene is marking the occasion this year. Can you go to the next one? Thank you. So in previous years, the town has organized a variety of campaigns and promotions to encourage the community to shop local. This year, we are excited to align our efforts with Small Business Week, where we have a few initiatives lined up. We are leading up to the week, as well as throughout the week, the town social media page will be sharing a range of posts that highlight the importance of shopping local. We are also inviting residents and business owners to join in by sharing their own stories and photos using the hashtag #ShopPenetanguishene. This will allow us to reshare their content and help foster a sense of community pride. To extend our reach, we are investing in boosted social media posts and running a few radio ads to spread the message even wider. We are partnering once again with the Southern Georgian Bay Chamber of Commerce to create a new series of videos that showcase what Penetanguishene has to offer. So these videos will share places to eat, where to find unique gifts. One will be focused on health focused, on a different way to put a nice fun spin on the hill on our main street, and everyday essentials, all encouraging everyone to come see for themselves and get around that message of that Penetanguishene has everything that you need. And finally, we're working to confirm a local artist who will be collaborating with our downtown businesses to create custom window painting. And these designs will celebrate will be on the theme of shopping local, while also highlighting the unique products and services each business has to offer. This adds a nice festive and creative touch to our downtown core. As we continue to celebrate Small Business Week, we also want to take a moment to recognize some of the exciting milestones within our business community. So just like what has been done in years past, tonight we are proud to acknowledge the new businesses that have opened their doors in 2025, as well as celebrate a few long-standing businesses marking significant anniversaries in 2025. Perfect. So beginning with Dr. Gadget. So they opened in February 2025 and are located at 102 Main Street in Unit 2. And they are specializing in professional repair services for phone, tablets, and laptops. In May 2025, Buzz Parlor opened their doors at 107 Main Street, and they offer a wide range of beauty products and are offering artistic services through organized workshops. Rise Marketplace opened their doors this past May, and they're located at 101 Main Street, and they sell a variety of affordable, sustainable, homemade Canadian goods, such as house items, food, toys, pet care, and further offering do-it-yourself workshops as well. And the Happy Buddha Soap Company has opened their doors this past July, located in Unit 1 of 102 Main Street. And they're sharing natural products that treat your hair, body, and face, and further incorporating sprays and oils. It is great to welcome all these new businesses to town, all contributing to the vibrancy of Penetanguishene and the diversity of products available to our residents. Now, I'm happy to share a few significant anniversaries some of our local businesses are celebrating this year. So starting with Foodland, they are celebrating their 10th anniversary. Unfortunately, they weren't able to join us tonight, however, but it's a fantastic acknowledgement for their dedication in Penetanguishene. Tools in Motion is celebrating their 10th anniversary as well, and I'm happy to share that Norman Robitaille is here to celebrate it with us tonight. Farlane Transportation celebrates their 15th anniversary this year, and Sonia Ajem McQuinn was able to make it out tonight to celebrate with us as well. And Winmar is celebrating their 20th anniversary in Penetanguishene, and they are known as Penetanguishene's trusted property restoration specialists and are helping the community recover quickly and safely. Unfortunately, they weren't able to join us today or tonight to celebrate with us, but it's still great to acknowledge that amazing achievement. And Penetang's Sand and Gravel is celebrating their 70th anniversary. This marks 7 decades of providing high-quality aggregates, excavation services, and crane rentals that have helped shape the infrastructure and growth of Penetanguishene and surrounding areas. They also were not able to join us tonight. And lastly, we have HS Santamon & Sons celebrating their 150th anniversary. This is a remarkable legacy of craftsmanship, reliability, and service in Penetanguishene, and proudly supporting generations of construction infrastructure projects across the region. I'm happy to share that Sue Santamon was able to come out tonight and celebrate this terrific milestone with us. Before I conclude my presentation today, I wanted to note that the businesses who weren't able to attend tonight will be receiving their certificates and gifts during Small Business Week. However, your worship, if you would like to come up and call on those who are here tonight to present a celebratory gifts and grab a quick photo, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I'll hand you the gifts.
Thank you, Nicole. That's tremendous. And look at the impact and the pizzazz and the excellence Nicole's bringing to the community. It's just amazing. We're doing our walkabouts, and community are asking about marketing support. They're asking about tariffs. They're asking about kinds of issues affecting business. And Nicole has the answers, the resources, the support. And I think we're so well served. So thank you, Nicole. Norm, why don't you come on up? We're proud to present your certificate for the work that you, and maybe if we can, we'll keep it really brief because we run along, but if you want to say a couple words about what you do, what you offer, the community, welcome. No? No, just take it from turn right. Yeah, great. Want to go to the front?
The residents have been great, and I just want to thank the town. I know most of the people here, so it's just been great. Thank you.
Come on over, Nicole. Sonia, I know you're here. I saw you. Yes, come on up. And Rob, come on up. Sorry, I didn't see you. Come on up. 15-year celebration for Fairland Transportation and tremendous work and support of the community. So thanks for being here. Again, you want to share some comments? Sure you do. Sonia does. Hey, sure you do. Are you sure? Come on. No, it's okay. Okay. Comment. Good. Sue, 150 years for the business. I don't think you've been there that long, right? But you feel it? Sue, tremendous work as a pillar in the community. I think you have words. I know you do. I know you do. Tremendous work.
I would like to thank everyone for the continued support of the community. The Santamas love to be helpful and good citizens, and we try to be that way. And we appreciate this honor. It's a very special honor, and the rest of my family is not here. Unfortunately, it's only me, but we do love our community very much. We are all grown here. We all got married here. They all had their children and everything. So again, we appreciate you coming around and seeing us, your worship, and Mr. Lees and everyone. So that's all I got. Oh, thank you. Yeah, nice to see you. Oh boy. And gifts. Hands full. Yes. Yeah. Okay, sure. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers up. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Lees, we didn't put this in script. I'm going to call on you for a second. Our municipality has celebrated a big anniversary this year, and it kind of coincides with Santama. Why don't you share everyone what that is? Not in the notes, so
Mr. Mayor, that was off script. But however, this year, the town of Penetang Machine as a village celebrated 150 years. 150 years as a village and certainly similar to HNS Santama Sons. Not 150 years as this council or staff, but 150 years as a village. And we were proud to recognize and celebrate that accomplishment with our September 13th event. And I believe it was July 28th or so, late July was the actual date. But as a community, the community rallied together and celebrated that event on September 13th, not only here at Town Hall, but also at the museum. So 150 years is a tremendous accomplishment. And I think it's lots of great things have happened over 150 years as a village, and the passion and the emotion and the drive that we've heard this evening, I think is a testament to what this community is about. So thank you, Your Worship.
thank you. Thank you. Maybe a big round of applause for all our businesses and all the support. And Nicole, thank you for pulling that together. Okay, council, here we go. 12 is our adoption minutes not already confirmed. Council, before I read the motion, does anybody wish to pull this for further comment or question? Seeing none, the motion reads the following minutes of council means be confirmed and adopted as circulated. Council September the 10th, 2025. Special council September 10th, 2025 is moved by Councillor LaRue, seconded by Councillor Marchand. We'll go for the vote. All in favor and opposed? That is carried. We have one item on our consent agenda this evening, Council. Does anybody wish to pull this for further comment or question? I will. So members of the public, this council did some engagement with the community, and we've heard loud and clear from the community about public safety. And one tool available to us was the implementation of automated speed enforcement. And this council took time to engage the community, and we brought forward a bylaw to implement automated speed enforcement. On our consent agenda this evening is a report from staff given an update to council about automated speed enforcement. So just to make it clear for everyone, we are moving forward with it. There has been communication in the public by the Premier and the Premier's office that they will be stopping that program, and they're going to be implementing legislation to stop that program. That legislation is not enforced, hasn't even been tabled as of yet. So we wanted to provide that information to you so that everyone's aware of the status. From my perspective, there has been no legislation tabled. There's no legislation before us. If we cancel a contract today, which we have, we would have a cost to the community to do that. Again, this is our goal and role, is to move forward with public safety. So again, I feel we've made the right decision. We're going to continue with that decision unless this council feels otherwise. Council, on our committee of the whole CIP this evening, council information package, we do have a number of letters and requests from other agencies. We did receive one from there's a couple in there regarding motions about automated speed enforcement, and the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario have done a proclamation that they're seeking support from the province. And I think we need to stand tall right now, Council. We did this for the right reasons. I think we need to stand tall and work with our municipal partners and celebrate why this is good. So I'd like to move that forward tonight, Council, that we bring this forward. I think time's of the essence to the Premier's office that we're doing this for public safety. So it's on the CIP, Council. It's on the October 1st CIP, item 4G. It's the AMCTO Automated Speed Enforcement Proclamation. I'll read it. I believe the Deputy Mayor is going to move this, Madam Clerk. So I'll introduce that, and then I'm going to look for a seconder for this. So Council, the motion would be that whereas ensuring the safety of all road users, including drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, is a common priority for all municipalities and the provincial government. Whereas reducing vehicle speeds helps create calmer, safer neighborhoods that encourage people to use active forms of transportation and to be active in their communities. Whereas municipalities across Ontario are increasingly adopting provincially regulated automated speed enforcement programs as a proven tool to improve road safety, particularly in school zones and community safety zones. Whereas there's ample evidence that speed cameras reduce the number of speeding vehicles in school zones. Whereas Ontario's police leaders view automated speed enforcement not as a revenue tool, but as a traffic safety tool with the purpose of deterrence and prevention, helping to change driver behavior and reduce collisions. Whereas by complementing traditional police enforcement, automated speed enforcement frees up police resources to focus on other pressing public safety priorities. Whereas nearly 3/4 of Ontario drivers support the use of ASE in targeted areas like school zones and community centres. Whereas municipalities are best placed to develop transportation plans based on their local knowledge and community input. Whereas the varying approaches across municipalities present an opportunity to promote consistency and alignment with emerging best practices province-wide. Therefore, be it resolved that the province of Ontario, through the Ministry of Transportation, work collaboratively with municipalities to operate ASE programs and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario to develop improvements to the ASE program. And further, that a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Minister of Transportation, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario Policy Centre and in Good Roads. So, Council, we'd like to move that forward and do our advocacy. The Deputy Mayor's moved. I'm going to look for a seconder on that, please. Seconded by Councillor Vadaboncourt. Council, comments or questions on the consent item before us or the motion before us? Seeing none, we're going to call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Council, we're going to move on to number 14, matters for consideration. We have several tonight. The first one is regarding the Town Dock Secondary Plan and the Master Plan public meeting. For members of the public, This is an opportunity that council has heard your comments this evening. Our staff has documented that. There's an opportunity for council to give their feedback, and then we're going to ask staff to go and take your feedback and do further work on that and bring it back. Council, before I introduce this motion, I'm going to open the floor for questions, comments, considerations from council about the Town Dock secondary plan. I want to make one statement before we do. I believe there was a comment tonight from a member of the public or during the presentation. And just so that we can set the stage, council, I've asked staff in the future if they can come back to council with a report. And we're going to have a closed session in the future to talk about potential land considerations. And there's land considerations that may need some council consideration. So when the time is right, staff will bring that forward. We'd like to do that before the official public information center. So then there's more guidance and direction what that look like. So everyone's clear. When we talk about land and what that's going to look like, we'll do that at a future meeting. Council, what we'll do is we'll open the floor for comments or questions. Does anyone want to start? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll go quick. I'm sure everybody on this council and all of our staff and our Town Dock committee members know where I stand, so we won't have a spiel about it tonight.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Mershaw.
As a member as well of that committee, we've had certainly lots of healthy debate and discussion, and I really do appreciate all the feedback this evening. There was a lot of really great points raised, and I think it continues to support really what the future of our town dock looks like. It's not just about the parking. It is about how do we attract people? How do we have a theme? How do we ensure that we're supporting our residents who can launch their boats? And how do we attract people in here? And so I do really appreciate all the feedback tonight, because I think it really reiterates everything that we've been saying, and we just need to pull it together and come to a common ground in how we really make it attractive and vital for our community. So I really do appreciate all the feedback. I think we're getting there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mershaw. Councillor Veta-Bunker.
Thank you, Worship. Couple of things. I think it's great that we're here at this point in our process, as our consultant outlined in terms of where we're at and where we need to go. I appreciated the comments here tonight. I'd like if the director could just mention to the community how they can participate and provide their comments to the draft master plan outside of this forum that we have here, just so those that may be watching or couldn't make it tonight, if they've got comments, how they could get their comments into the process.
Thank you, Councillor Veta-Bunker. For you, is that any more comments or consideration for you? Okay. Madam Director, I'll come to you in a couple of minutes. I just going to finish the council. Councillor Rush.
Thank you so much. I gave this a lot of thought over the last little while, and I struggled with the lack of comments that we were receiving from the community, and I really thought deeply about why it was that so many general public are not engaged with the town dock. And I thought back at the 60s and the 70s, when in those days you built an arena and then you built a library somewhere else, and you built, community center. You didn't build community centers. They were all separate entities. They were siloed. And so with time, I think the community and municipalities and towns and cities said, okay, we need to start consolidating these features, because otherwise everybody's siloed and they're scattered, and there's no possibility for community to engage together. So that's when they started building community centers with a senior center and a daycare and a library, and they would put a swimming pool and a gymnasium. And so they really diversified the uses so that these hubs became community spaces where people could live and meet and interact. And I think this is what we're struggling with this town dock, is we're still back in the 60s and 70s when this facility was built for boaters, and where people would go for their hamburger, but they were boaters. So people don't feel necessarily connected because they haven't necessarily been there to feel like there's something there for them to do. So my hope in all of this, and I urge council, is to
think outside the box and to think about how we can make this space a space for everyone, where there's something that everyone feels connected, where everybody can be there and feel like they have a place to be. I would, of course, my comments is always the same. I'd like to see parking either moved, a little bit of parking elsewhere, or reduced, our green spaces greater, our community spaces more, because I will have a really hard time spending millions of dollars on this town dock if it's all about parking and the launch. So those are my comments. No news there, but thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councillor Dosh. I was waiting for the bold comment. Councillor LaRue.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think that I would prefer waiting for further reports from the committee. I know that what we do have to deal with, very important, is parking, green space, theme, and a drawing card. So there's more to come, and I will make a decision on what I think I would like to see when I hear more.
Thank you, Councillor LaRue. Councillor Waters.
I'd like to suggest that everybody takes a drive sometime in the next couple of weeks to go to Thornbury, Meaford, have a look at them. I was there last weekend. I went on Sunday. There was probably 1,000 to 2,000 people walking up and down the streets. Nothing really that you can put your finger on for why there was there, but there was just they have a nice setup. And I think it's something that we could go have a look at and maybe get some ideas on what we can do here. It's unbelievable that you would have that many people in such a small little town.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. Director Betty, if you can address Councillor Vedabunker's comments about public involvement and how they can participate from here on out, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. So there is the town's engagement website, connectpenetangmachine.ca, does have all the background work and all the background studies and everything that we've done to date. So if anybody needs to review any of that work, it is available on that website. You can comment directly on the plan that's we presented tonight. You can do that in person. You can do that by email. Our email address is just planning@penetangmachine.ca. There is also going to be a survey that we release over the next couple of weeks so that we can get some additional feedback and help guide the next step in the process. And so any feedback we get, over the next month or so, we're going to be taking into consideration with the Town Docket Technical Advisory Committee. And then, as the Mayor mentioned at the beginning, there will be another opportunity to consult when we have the statutory required meeting under the Planning Act in the new year. And that will be a formal opportunity to provide last comments on the plan. So I would say if you haven't left your contact information with myself, I know some people have been on our list, but if you leave your contact information with me tonight, I can ensure that you get updated when there are new decision points or new information available about this project as well.
Thank you, Director Betty. Appreciate that. Well, I think we're at a really interesting time. We did a lot of public consultation. We're doing a lot of public consultation. Like the director mentioned, there's still an opportunity to contribute, but we're coming to a point of decision time. And we, council, need to make that decision. And I'm going to steal your word, Councillor Rush. We need to be bold. And I highlighted that from one of the last times you spoke. Tonight, we heard individuals say words like it's boring. We heard unique. We heard we need to do better. What does that mean? I don't know, but I'll tell you some things I've been hearing, some things I've got a little different mindset about lately. One of the things I heard was, should we even be in the marina business? I don't know, but should we? I think we need to think about this parking conversation. I think we've done a lot of work, and someone tonight addressed that, but we've done the study. We've done the study, and there's ample parking that we don't need to increase the parking. I think we've got the data. We know what that data says today. I heard something this last little bit, and the comment was about having a town square. Imagine pulling into what we know as the town dock area today, and there's a town square, a place where we can assemble, a place where there could be a mini little meeting or conference or wedding or whatever. It's a place where people can congregate and do some pretty miraculous things. I love the comment tonight about, we're talking about the vision down the harbor. What about up the street? I think we do need to be bold, Councillor Rush, and I want us to look 20 years in the future and be bold. I want us to provide an opportunity for what this is so we all can be proud of what we did and not do rinse and repeat. Because what I am hearing from people is this is a fresh coat of paint. And it's the same plan that we've looked at over and over and over again. Now's the chance, now's the opportunity, and I'm on that team. Let's reassess what that looks like. But we need to make decisions and we need to move forward. So, Council, we've provided our feedback. Is there any further comments on this or comments or questions? Seeing none. The motion reads that this report be received for discussion and that staff and the Town Dock Technical Advisory Committee be directed to report back to Committee of the Whole with a response to the comments received through the public consultation. It's moved by Councillor Vadabonker, second by Councillor Marchand. For the comments? Seeing none, we're going to call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor, we move on to 14B. It's regarding the procurement of a sidewalk tractor. We did get the addended report added to your agenda. You've had an opportunity to review it. Any comments or questions by any members of council? Councillor Waters.
Just one question. It doesn't really concern too much about this. I was just wondering where the tractor was made, if it was a Canadian-made tractor.
CEO Lees, is that for you or Director Murray? Director Murray, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Waters. We do have a number of vendors, some of which are Canadian-made, some of which are U.S., that we have a selection to pick from. I believe a number of the vendors are North American, but the selection that we would probably go with would be a North American-made vehicle with distributors in Ontario.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, the motion is that staff proceed with the advanced procurement and delivery of a new sidewalk tractor and attachments in 2025, and that the additional funds of $21,531.22 be approved from the Public Works Vehicle Equipment Reserve. It's moved by Councillor Vadabonker, seconded by Councillor Marchand. For the comments? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Council, next item is 14C. It's regarding a respect in workplace policy update. That report's attached to your agenda as well. Comments or questions? Seeing none, the motion reads that the respect in workplace policy be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Drush, second by Deputy Mayor. For the comments? Call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. 14D is an appointment to our Economic Advisory Committee. It's moved by, the motion reads that Shannon Smith be appointed to the Economic Advisory Committee for the remainder of the terms. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Deputy Mayor. We'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor, moving on to 15, for members of the public. When council adjourns, we move into another meeting called Committee of the Whole. Same members of council sit at Committee of the Whole. Usually we hear issues for the first time in Committee of the Whole. We debate it. We might make alterations or changes. We might pick an option. Committee of the Whole makes a recommendation. That recommendation is brought forward the following month, where council would then decide if they're going to approve that, change the motion, edit the motion, or accept it the way it was. So this is our second reading, we'll call it, of the motion that we discussed last month. One member of council chairs a meeting and they present what we discussed last month in that committee. So I'm just giving you a little what we're doing so everyone's on the same page. Okay, Councillor Vadabonker, please.
Thank you, Worship. I'll be presenting the Transportation and Environmental Services section recommendations from the September 10th meeting. Section dealt with 2 consent agenda items. First one was the Midland Penetanguishene Transit ridership update. The second was the update on the disposal and treatment options for septage for the North Simcoe area. We considered one item, and that was the asset management plan for 2025. It's an update to our asset management plan, and it was recommended that council approve the 2025 asset management plan and make the plan available on the town's website. And further, that council consider a dedicated 1% tax increase to help fund the asset management plan. And as the plan stands today, as is common with other most other municipalities, the plan is not completely funded, and 1% tax increase would assist in funding the future assets. We dealt with 2 referral items. There were 2 existing referrals. The first one dealing with the septage disposal and treatment resolution, and that's going to stay on the list because that has not been resolved at this point. And the second item was a review of the level of service policy for pothole repairs on local streets. There were no new referral items at our last meeting. So, Your Worship, it's moved by myself and seconded by the Deputy Mayor that Council approve the recommendations from the Transportation Environmental Services Section meeting of September 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vandenbunker. Council, do you wish to pull anything for further comment or discussion? Seeing none, it's moved. We'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Councillor Vandenbunker. Councillor Roux, please.
Thank you, Worship. On September 10th, Recreation and Community Services had 4 consent items. One was the Summer Cultural Festival Ad Hoc Committee meeting of June the 10th, 25. Second was a Wellbeing and Accessibility Committee meeting minutes of June 12th, 25. There was a memo from the Director of Recreation Community Services enhancing access to spaces for everyone grant. And fourth, the Community Memorial for Residents. There were no matters for consideration. There was only one future agenda item, which is the memorial opportunity. So it is moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor LaRose that the recommendation contained within the community of the whole related to the Recreation and Community Services section be approved.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roux. Anybody wish to put anything further comment or question? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Councillor Roux. Councillor DeRush, please.
The Planning and Community Development Services had 3 consent agenda items. The first was the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes for July 21st, 2025. The second was the bylaw monthly activity report for July. And the third was a motion relating to tariffs brought forward by the Economic Advisory Committee that was supported by Council. There were 4 matters for consideration. The first was the Local Climate Change Action Plan update. It was recommended that Council apply for the Partners for Climate Protection program. The second was the extension to the draft plan approval for St. Andrews Village subdivision, and it was recommended that the extension be granted. The third was regarding an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for 200 Main Street and 35 Main Street, and it was recommended that these be approved. And the last was the short-term rental licensing program update. After some discussion, it was recommended that the report be referred back to staff. As I was away for the September meeting, Bill Waters, Section Vice Chair of Services, will move the motion. Can I get a seconder, please? Seconded by Councillor Marchand. That the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report related to the Planning Development Services be approved.
Thank you very much, Councillor DeRush. Anybody wish to put anything for the comment or question? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor Marchand, please. Thanks, Councillor DeRush.
Thank you, Your Worship. For Finance and Corporate Services section, we had 1 consent agenda item, and that was the Fire Department financial analysis for fiscal year 2024-25. We had 1 matter under matters for consideration, and that was the digital signage plan. Referral items, we had 2 items that were removed from the list. That was the Cultural Alliance report and the Electra presentation. As the chair, I will move that, and seconded by Councillor Waters, that the recommendation contained within a Committee of the Whole related to Finance and Corporate Services section be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. Anybody wish to put anything further comment or question? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Councillor Marchand. Council 16's presentation consideration report from special committees. We have none. 17's notices of motion, which is previously given. We have none. Council, anybody wish to present a notice of motion this evening? Seeing none. Before I read the bylaws, anybody wish to pull them for further comment or question? For members of the public, The province updated the Municipal Act this past year and provided the municipality of the town of Penetanguishene strong mayor powers. At council, I make a declaration whether I intend to veto the bylaws that's before us, and I will make that declaration. As per the strong mayor legislation passed by the province of Ontario on May the 1st, 2025, I, Mayor Doug Rawson, hereby decide to not exercise the power to veto the following bylaws passed at the town of Penetanguishene council meeting on October the 8th, 2025, in accordance with subsection 284.11.4A1 of the Municipal Act. In council, the consideration bylaws are that the council of the town of Penetanguishene introduced the following bylaws. Bylaw 2025-41 regarding our official plan amendment number 1 for 200 Main Street. Bylaw 2025-42 being a zoning bylaw amendment for 200 Main Street and 35 Thompsons Road West. Bylaw 2025-43 being a bylaw regarding hearing and screening officer appointment, and that the bylaws be read a first time, deemed to be read a second time, a third time, and carried. It's moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Marchand. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. The mayor and deputy mayor represent the town of Penetanguishene at County of Simcoe. And every meeting we come back, the deputy mayor reports back to the community about the great work we're doing at the County of Simcoe. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. We've had a couple meetings since our last meeting. We've spent a number of time and topics with the homeless people going on. The encampments in Barrie has taken up a bunch of time. We have some land swaps going on that's been bothering us. The one thing we did do was last night, as we talked about earlier, it was nice to go to the Age Friendly Recognition Awards, finding out that two of our local people, one being Beth Dubo and one of Councillor Marchand and her group from Chigamik. It was very nice last night. When you look at the size of the county and the people involved, I would say a good portion of that room was loaded with Penetanguishene residents and people. It was very nice to see, and it was noticed by other members from other municipalities. It was very nice. On a worse note, we want to talk about the county was informed by the province we'll be taking over the recycling portion of our pickup. And although the county tried very hard, and I mean very hard, we tried everything that we possibly could to convince them to let us continue to do it. We tried just to say, just pay us what the recyclers are paying, anything to keep it happening. We tried it, other jurisdictions tried it, it just did not come together. The province is hell-bent on having it their way and doing it their way. So it's very sad to announce that as of January the 1st, recycling for industrial, commercial, and institutional places will not be picked up. They will be on their own to find out how to do that. We feel it's a very large step backwards in our mind, but we're still trying to convince the province of that. But as of our meeting on Tuesday, they advised us that there probably is not any time for new adjustments to be made. So that will be the fact of life come January. So for those people, it's unfortunate, but they will have to find an alternate way to get rid of their recycling. But that's all the bad news I had for tonight. No.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just to add on to what the Deputy Mayor brought up, I just want to emphasize to everyone, this is not residential. Nothing will change for residential. It is for the business community, and we'll talk more about that. The other thing I'll just bring up, Deputy Mayor, there has been a lot of discussion, you might have read it in the paper, about boundary realignments with the City of Barrie and Springwater and into Oro-Medonte. I just want everyone to be aware, this does affect the town of Penetanguishene. This does affect Adula. This affects every resident in the county of Simcoe. This is going to have profound taxation impact to the county. So I don't want us to think this is only an Oro or only a Springwater issue. This is a complex matter that will affect every resident in this county. And I just want you to be aware. If you have questions, do please feel free to reach out to us. Okay, council, announcements or inquiries. Councillor Roux, you usually have one, so.
But I don't have one that I don't know.
Any other announcements or inquiries, council? COLs?
And none for myself, thanks, Your Worship.
I'm catching you off script tonight, eh? Okay.
I did want to highlight that Sherry did complete the Berlin Marathon, and I think my inquiry is, how did you do?
I went out to complete it and have fun and enjoy the moment, and that's what I did. So thank you. And you encouraged me to bring Penetanguishene with me. I ran the entire marathon with a Town of Penetanguishene pin pinned to my hydration belt. So
sounds like we need better swag, is what I'm hearing you say. We'll ask the CEO about more than just a pin for next time. My only announcement I'll make is Pumpkin Inferno's on. So come down to Discovery Harbor, check out Pumpkin Inferno. It's a great event. Every year they change it up. Please check it out. Council, we're going to move on to our confirmation bylaw. The bylaw reads that the confirmation bylaw 2025-44 be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerks. Moved by Councilor Roux, second by Councilor Vadabunker. We'll call the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. And we got a motion to adjourn at 9:24. It's moved by Councilor Marshall, second by Councilor Vadabunker. All in favor? And we're adjourned. We'll be back in, what, Sherry? 12 minutes? Sherry's always watching. She's like, guys, we're on late. Okay, Sarah, 12? 12 minutes. Good evening, council, members of the public. We're going to call our committee of the whole meeting to order for Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025 at 9:37 p.m. We have a motion to read that the committee of the whole agenda for October the 8th, 2025 be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Vadabunker, second by Councillor Marshall. Comments and questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Council, does anybody have a declaration of pecuniary interest on the items on our committee of the whole tonight? Seeing none, we'll move on. 4 is delegations and presentations. Anybody have, sorry, we don't have a delegation presentation. Council, we're going to move on. Number 5 is our council information package. We have 2 of them. One for the September 17th, 2025, and the second one's for October the 1st, 2025. Does anybody wish to pull any for further comment or question? Councillor Vadabunker.
Thank you, Worship. If we could pull the letter from the residents of Gordon Drive, and since we're on that subject, maybe the letter from MHBC Planning Consultants as well. Thank you. The October 1st council information package. Thank you.
Okay. We will pull that. Council, I have several I'm going to pull. So let's pull yours, Councillor Vadabunker, and we'll give the floor to you, and then we'll work with the clerk to make this work tonight. But over to you. October the 1st, I believe the letter is item 2A regarding Gordon Drive, and then the fob from MHBC. Okay. The floor is yours.
2A and 2B. Yeah. Well, thank you. Are we going to not deal with the other ones, or the other are going to be pulled? I'm not sure what's the process here.
I have about 7 we're going to pull, so we'll deal with them separate, and then the remaining we'll approve them. But the floor is yours on item 2A on October 1st.
So thank you, Worship. I have a few thoughts on this one here. First of all, I want to extend my thanks to the Prost for taking the time to submit the letter. As member of council and also chair of the Committee of Adjustment, I was unable to make the meeting when this matter was considered because I was on vacation, as I indicated. And so I took the time since receiving this letter and to educate myself as I would normally do prior to a Committee of Adjustment meeting on a particular file. So I read all read the staff report, read the background studies on the matter, the technical reports, the peer review items, and this afternoon before the council meeting, I went out and walked the property. So these are all things that I would do normally in preparation for a Committee of Adjustment meeting, because I thought it was important that to be able to properly consider Mr. Prost and the residents of Gordon Drive's request this evening. So I want to first of all thank Ms. Lipton, who chaired in my absence at the Committee of Adjustment meeting. She was here earlier. She's probably left. I also want to recognize our planning staff. The report that was prepared, I thought, was very thorough. I noted that some of the materials had been prepared and submitted 2 years ago, and so this file has undergone an extensive review. The applicant submitted technical reports by acknowledged experts. Azimuth Consulting is one of the best environmental consultants that operate in Simcoe County. WSP did the peer review there, also very good. And so staff did a very thorough job, in my opinion, in terms of their analysis and the process that they followed. So looking at it from my lens, and again, dealing with it as I would normally do in dealing with such a matter, I could not see anything in the technical analysis the staff report, the policy framework that staff operate in that would lead me to want to reconsider or support an appeal to the OLT, the Ontario Land Tribunal, of the Committee of Adjustments decision. And with my walk of the property today, and as I said, reviewing the technical reports, you know, the properties can be developed, in my opinion. I think there are technical safeguards through the application process for a septic system. These are licensed professionals that need to submit an application to the municipality to have a septic system installed. There are requirements under the Ontario Building Code in terms of separation from water sources, from sources of potable water. There are technical safeguards in place for well drillers to drill wells. So the processes are in place. I acknowledge the concern of the residents with respect to the potential impacts on the groundwater in the area. I acknowledge that. That is something that obviously I can appreciate would be a concern if you're on a well and new development is occurring nearby. But I have confidence in the technical analysis that was done. I have confidence in our staff in terms of their review of the application, and I have confidence in the process that is followed when new development takes place. So, Your Worship, to summarize, if I had been in attendance at the Committee of Adjustment meeting, I would have supported the staff recommendation and voted to approve the application. There are requirements that the applicant has to make. There are 2 separate pages of requirements that the applicant must adhere to with respect to the creation of these 3 lots, in addition to what they have to satisfy in terms of getting their septic permit and to get their well drilled. So I'll stop there, Your Worship, and thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vadebonker. This item was pulled 2A, this letter. Does any other member of council have further comment or question? Okay, hearing none. Councillor Vadebonker, I'm going to echo your comments. I'm also going to say, not only did our staff do their work and due diligence support us, but this hasn't been like a 6-week project. I look back, we're going on to months. This started in 2023, and there's been dialogue and back and forth. When I look at our policy framework, whether it's ROP, county OP, good planning, it conforms and meets from our perspective. I would agree. Councillor Vadebonker, you pulled this item. Are you looking to receive this for information, or do you have an action from pulling it?
Thank you, Your Worship. My intent was just to receive it for information.
Okay, thank you. Council, any further comments? Okay. We're going to move on to the other items on the CIP. Before I read some others, does any other member wish to pull anything from the CIP for further comment? Okay, if you can bear with me for a couple minutes. I have reviewed this with the clerk, so it might not take us too long, hopefully. So I'm going to refer council to the October the 1st, 2025 CIP. And there's some I want to make comment, and then there's a couple I'd like to look at as supporting. So one is number 1B. It's Penetanguishene letter to support the Essex Township. Just for council and the public's information, council voted a while ago about supporting not reducing the size of the upper tier council. We debated that, council, and we unanimously supported that. ESSA, as you know, was on a previous CIP, wrote a letter to the ministry saying, we believe you're reducing our voice. So we have followed up with the same letter of support based on what this council decided, what this council voted on. We felt it was important to provide our feedback based on that decision from that day. We also want to provide it from this council because the vote carried from the County of Simcoe. The Deputy Mayor and I would be in conflict if we go against County Council's decision. So the voice was from this council because this council said we did not support that motion. So I just want everyone to be aware That was the letter, and everyone has seen that, but I want the public to be aware of what we've done there. So that's just received for information. Council, 1E I'd like to talk about, and the Deputy Mayor already brought this up. This is a letter we received from the Honourable Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, from Todd McCarthy. The Deputy Mayor talked about this a little while ago. Oh, you're right, Deputy Mayor. I'm just looking there. He was saying my shirt clashes with the chain, and look at that. Wow. So the county mentioned, the Deputy Mayor mentioned about the county and the work the county is doing on advocating on the work with recycling materials for our commercial industrial area. We felt that there was going to be a motion and a move forward. We literally received that letter, so you'll see the date with that. I believe we received the letter last week. An hour after we received that letter, we also received a letter from the not-for-profit agency that's going to be doing the pickup of residential recycling materials. And they basically said what the minister said, but they're both pointing fingers saying, yeah, we can't do it. And this is leaving us down to days to solve it, and there's no solution. So I just wanted everyone to be aware, there's lots being done from advocacy. We're being told things, but at the end, everyone's saying, sorry about your luck. It's a really unfortunate circumstance. I just want to tell us, what does this mean? Today, the recycling and garbage truck goes down Main Street, and it's a County of Simcoe contractor who every other week will pick up garbage one week, recycling the other week. And if they're going down the main street, we know there's some residences and we know there's some businesses. Starting in January, the businesses will not be picked up. I'm going to argue that's going to have a bigger impact on our garbage situation. And this is a big problem. One thing I've asked the county is we need to do a stronger advocacy and lobby to the group or to the province, and maybe Madam Clerk will bring a motion next month to say we need to do a better job of that. But I just want everyone to be aware about that. And Deputy Mayor, you already brought that up, but that's what that letter is. Council, if we move on to that CIP, the next one is item 4A I'd like to bring up. This is about the Archipelago media release regarding their opposition to the Aspiring Geopark. And you know, we've had the Aspiring Geopark present to us. There's been some discussions. Earlier tonight, I mentioned that I did meet with them. I still believe their plan and what they want to achieve is tremendous. And I think they have great vision in what they want to achieve. What they have found out is getting that benchmark to hit UNESCO is going to be almost impossible to achieve. Why? In order to get UNESCO designation, you basically can have no naysayers. And there's lots and lots of naysayers are coming out right now. So I wanted everyone to be aware that's kind of what's been happening. The plan's still working. They actually met in the town 2 weeks ago, and they met with Will Baird from Discovery Harper to get more feedback and ideas. But I just want everyone to be aware about that topic. So that's an FYI. Council, the next item I'd like to bring up is item 4C. And I'm going to ask Council if we can endorse this resolution. You know that we, as a municipality, and I've been representing the municipality on the Simcoe County Auto Mayors and the provincial Auto Mayors, and we've been talking about tariffs and the like. And the Simcoe County Auto Mayors has really been leveraging the support of the supply chain in Simcoe County, and we have a strong supply chain in Simcoe County with Magna as one example. And when we met with them last week, they have just a little more than 500 employees working at Magna. They want to hire another 100 in the next year to 2 years. And their business is doing very, very well. If we talk about the supply chain, this motion from Wasaga Beach, the provincial government, or sorry, the federal government's rules for supporting and car manufacturing is really about plug-in EVs. And companies like Tesla have a better competitive advantage than places like Honda who have hybrid vehicles. And it's dramatically affecting their business, dramatically. This motion basically says to the government, we appreciate that you have a goal, but that goal is not realistic. No one's going to achieve that. We need the time horizons made it longer, or else you're basically going to destroy the auto manufacturing, and the businesses that rely on that. Council, I would ask that we support that. Madam Clerk, I believe if Council can endorse that, then you'll include that next month. But that's what we're looking for tonight, is for our Council to approve that. So unless there's any comments or questions, I'm going to ask for a mover on the Wasaga Beach resolution. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor O'Rourke. Comments or questions on the endorsement of that mandate? We'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. Thank you, Council. The next item I'd like to talk about is the Town of Aurora resolution regarding an Elect Respect campaign. I think this is another great advocacy that we need to do. Even in our own backyard, we're learning that it's hard for members of the public to want to consider coming to office, and that some people don't want to come to represent the community at council due to a number of reasons, but we need to really make this about environment, about respect, about inclusion, and about creating environments that's about inclusive participation at the council table. So I'd really like that we talk about endorsing this pledge of support and respect as we move forward. I'll look for a mover for that one, please. Councillor Marchand, second by Councillor Drash. Comments or questions? We'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? And that is carried. And the others we discussed. So that's all I have. Madam Clerk, we're good?
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you. Okay, Council, so what we'll do is we'll receive all the other items for information. So the motion reads that the Council information package having been given due consideration be received for information, again for September the 17th, 2025 and October the 1st, 2025. Moved by Councillor Rush, second by Councillor Waters. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And opposed? That is carried. Councillor Vadabon-Kerr, please.
I'll let you catch your breath there, Your Worship. So I'm going to speak to the Transportation and Environmental Services section agenda. We have no items on the consent agenda this evening. We have several items for consideration. The first item is the Salt Management Plan update for 2025. In your agenda package is the Salt Management Plan, the Maintenance Standard Policy, and road salts for 2024-2025. Does anybody wish an explanation on this item from the director? Seeing none, I'll read the motion and then ask for a mover and seconder that the 2025 Salt Management Plan outlined in staff report RDS 2025-17 be adopted. May I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Waters, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. The next two items deal with the assumption of municipal services pertaining to the Belil Penetang developments phases 3 and 4. I'll read both motions and then I'll look for mover and seconder for both because they pertain to the same thing. The final acceptance and assumption of the municipal services associated with the Belil Penetang development phase 3 be approved, and the remaining securities for Belil Penetang developments phase 3 totaling $385,810.56 be reduced to $20,000, which will be maintained by the town for outstanding deficiencies. And the next one is that the final acceptance and assumption of municipal services associated with the Belil Penetang developments phase 4 be approved, and that the securities in place for the surface course asphalt amounting to $2,970 be maintained until such time as the 2-year warranty period has lapsed. And finally, that the balance of the securities in place totaling $161,011 be released to the developer. Any questions on either one of these two assumption of municipal services? Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question, I hear from residents in the Belil Heights subdivision about water issues. I think there's been some longstanding issues there. I appreciate what this report is and what it's about, but I'm wondering, is there an increased liability, risk to the municipality by us accepting this, but maybe we have not resolved those issues?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair, to the Mayor. So staff have gone through with the developer and addressed the outstanding efficiencies for both phases 3 and 4. So for greater clarity, phase 4 is Revel Road, which would be the last phase within the Belil Harbor Point subdivision. So we've spent the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years in some cases going through the deficiencies with the developer and resolving those. In some cases associated with phase 3 and 4, The resolution of those deficiencies is taking quite some time. So we've gotten it to a point where we're satisfied with assuming the services minus the deficiencies that we've noted. So we're still retaining a portion of those securities to complete those deficiencies. So to answer your question, Your Worship, yeah, we are satisfied that we can release this money back to the developer and move forward with the assumption process.
Thank you, Worship, for that question. We asked a similar question at our section meeting as well, because we were aware of some of the drainage concerns that had been raised over the years. And the director provided a similar response, but also mentioned with respect to some of the more significant drainage concerns pertain to earlier phases. In phase 2, so and those are not subject to what we're talking about today. So having heard the two motions, I'll look for a mover and a seconder for the first one. Councillor LaRue, seconder. Councillor Waters. For this is pertaining to phase 3. You heard the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. And I'll look for a mover for phase 4, the deputy mayor, Councillor Darash. So this is the motion for phase 4. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. The next item is the Fox Street Pollution Control Plant Feasibility and Visioning Report. This is an extensive report prepared by J.L. Richards, engineering consultants, looking at options for the Fox Street Sewage Treatment Plant. And in the report, it outlines 4 options, with the recommendation that council proceed with option 4, which is outlined in the recommendation to that council approve the decommissioning of the Fox Street water pollution control plant and install a permanent pumping station and force main in its place, and directs sewage to the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant. And in the report, it outlines a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy. And the short-term strategy would be to keep the plant running for a bit, replace the filters. There is a force main that goes from the Fox Street Sewage Treatment Plant to the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant. It needs some repairs at about $50,000, so that the sewage that normally would go in the Fox Street Sewage Treatment Plant could bypass and go directly to the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant. And the next part of the recommendation deals with the short-term solutions, and then the long-term solutions are basically, as I indicated, construct a sewage pumping station and pump the sewage that normally would be treated at the Fox Street Sewage Treatment Plant to the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant. So it's a very significant recommendation. The total, both phases are about $12 million. It's quite expensive. And we discussed this at section, and in section's opinion, there were a couple of pieces that are missing in what we have before us. In the report, it outlines, excuse me, it outlines the need to do some sewer repairs along Fox Street and along the waterfront park. And council may recall, we received some grant money to do that. And those repairs would deal with the infiltration of water that currently goes into those sewers. And some of that water goes to the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant, and some of that water goes to the Fox Street Sewage Treatment Plant. So that's one piece that was only talked about but wasn't really discussed at length. And then there are other sewers within the municipality that are referred to as combined sewers that have rainwater as well as sewage going through that would, again, if they were separated, would reduce the impact on both sewage treatment plants. The reason that is so important is that once you get to a certain capacity in your plants, then you need to start to plan for upgrades or replacement to your plant. And that leads me to my second concern that section had, was that we're still carrying a significant debt from the first major expansion. And to incur an additional $12 million, it was, do we have the capacity to be able to do that in terms of carrying that debt? We can add the debt, but we got to carry it. And typically that type of debt is paid for through the rates, your wastewater rates. So that means your water and wastewater rates would increase. So we talked about this with the director, and the director was going to have a conversation with the treasurer and the clerk in terms of how could the recommendation that's before you today be modified slightly so that we could incorporate some of these additional items into the recommendation. The first item being the creation and presentation of a 5-year plan to deal with the extraneous flows in the sewers, starting with the 2 that I talked about and then the additional ones. And then a financial report dealing with the status of the debt, how we would be able to accommodate this, and then we could deal with the whole picture. And so I'll pause at this point and I'll pass it over to the director, and the director can perhaps supplement what I've just indicated. Thank you, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You did a great job summarizing the contents of the report. I do feel the short-term options, which includes the rehabilitation of the sewers along the waterfront and Fox Street, will go a long way in terms of reducing that extraneous flow that we're seeing at both plants. As part of that overall strategy within the report, the idea would be, and the plan would be to start with the removal of infiltration and inflow within our sanitary sewers, reduce our annual average daily flows at both plants to a point where you could theoretically, and obviously you would have to monitor it, which is also outlined in the report, monitor the effectiveness of your I&I removal program. So after the Fox Street and the waterfront sewer projects are completed, do some monitoring of your sewers as we have been over the last few years to determine what the impact of that sewer rehab is on your I&I flows. With the idea being, if you start at that point with your short-term solutions, you could actually theoretically reduce your flows to a point where you could actually shut down the Fox Street sewage treatment plant to a pump station, divert those flows over to Main Street, and effectively have the same amount of flows that you have today at the Main Street plant, thereby delaying any further high-cost capacity upgrades at the Main Street plant and cost-effectively managing your wastewater treatment into the future.
So thank you, Mr. Director. So with respect to the recommendation that's in our agenda, we would need to amend it slightly. So how would you propose that we amend it to achieve what we were discussing?
What I would suggest, Mr. Chair, is the first recommendation, the first paragraph of the resolution could stay, being that the feasibility report could be received, and that the recommendation outlined in the report being the long-term solution. The second paragraph being that the decommissioning of the pollution control plant would be approved in principle, could stay, And that the third paragraph, and further that staff be directed to move forward with the short-term solutions outlined in the report, including I&I removal of the sanitary sewers within the Main Street and Fox Street collection system, proceed and omit the replacing of the filters portion of that paragraph, Mr. Chair, because if we were to go ahead with that project and the flows would be reduced to a point where we didn't require the repairs at the Fox Street plant, we could save that money and defer any high cost repairs at the Main Street plant and just go straight to the long-term solution.
So there were the other components of dealing with the further I&I removal, like the separated sewers and developing a plan. And then there was the status of the financial situation with respect to the previous sewage treatment plant expansion. So maybe that financial plan, the financial analysis, we can hold off for a bit because we don't need it right now. But from a capital budget standpoint, I think it might be important to be looking at that sewer separation plan as we march into our budget process.
That's correct.
For 2026.
That's correct. And I think that would be where the last paragraph comes into play, where the town's capital plan would be updated through the recommendations in the report at the last paragraph, so that those I&I projects could be populated within the capital plan for consideration during the budget process.
Madam Clerk, are you capturing all this?
I'm trying. What I have currently is that we are adding the I&I removal to the motion and removing the portion in regards to the repairs to the force main.
It would be the filters, Kelly, reference to the filters.
I know the mayor has a comment, so I'm just going to let the clerk finish here. Make sure she has the motion complete. So you got that part about and replacing filters. That's gone. And then the last paragraph. And finally, that staff include the short and long-term recommendations for the II plan for consideration through the budget process. And if you've got that part.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the proposed motion would be that the Fox Street Pollution Control Plant Feasibility Envisioning Report outlined in Staff Report WW 2025-03 be received, and that the recommendation outlined in the Envisioning Report to decommission the Fox Street WPCP install permanent pumping station and force main be approved in principle, and further that staff be directed to move forward with the short-term solutions outlined in the report, including I&I removal and repairs to the force main, and that staff include the short and long-term recommendations in the town's capital plan through the budget process.
I think we need to be a little bit in that final paragraph. It needs to refer to the II plan in the capital for consideration in the budget process. Because in the report dealing with the visioning, there was the long-term plan was the most expensive, like was the $12 million or $8 million component of that. And I think what the director talked about and what we talked about at section was, let's do part one first, which is the II and the force main repair, and develop a plan for the other II removal, and then see where we're at, and then look to the long-term plan. So maybe I'll pause there, and the mayor has got his hand up here, so I'm going to let him chime in, and maybe you can converse with the director and make sure we've got it all correct. Your worship.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a great topic. I think there's a lot of comments. I have 5 that I want to make about this myself. I don't see an urgency. Like, I don't know why we need to approve this tonight. I think you're bringing up a lot of good points. I'm going to ask, why don't we defer this? And maybe we can ask the director, we can ask the CO, maybe they can take your feedback, other members of council feedback, and maybe next month they come back with a revised version. I don't think it's going to impact budget. We've already asked staff to prepare a budget. I think the director can bring forward what he feels is appropriate during budget. I don't think that precludes that process, but I just think we all have a lot of really good stuff to add, and you've already started that. I'm just thinking maybe a little bit more time might help craft that. And just, I think on the fly, we're doing a lot of things here right now. I would just suggest maybe a deferral would be appropriate.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you for those comments. We did talk about some options at section. There were some things that the director felt needed to be done in the coming year. Maybe he can just elaborate on that, what's within his authority and what might need council approval.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we have done an initial draft of our capital that includes the I&I work that we've been awarded funding for. So that would be a good first step in that process. Knowing that obviously that's not in the entire I&I program that we would be rolling out. But to the mayor's point, if there's appetite to revisit this again or require deferral, that's something that could be explored as well.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I think when we discussed this at section, you indicated that the repairs to the force main could be done under your authority. But as I understand, maybe you can speak briefly to the filters and what the state of the filters are and what may be required for those.
Through you, Mr. Chair, the tertiary filters are at end of life, and they are requiring a lot of maintenance. We have completed repairs and maintenance through a capital project this year. So the idea would be to, the replacement of those filters are quite costly, and we wouldn't want to invest in those filters if those filters were not going to operate for a significant period of time. So if the I&I was to be completed before to possibly lower those flows, then we could possibly avoid those costs with replacing the filters. So that's the idea in terms of completing the I&I first to avoid those replacement of the filter costs, and go straight to the long-term goal would be the pump station and decommissioning the plant.
So then with respect to the mayor's thought about deferring, then there's not an implication from that standpoint?
No, we've got the repairs done that we need done for the foreseeable future. The long-term goal would be to obviously complete the short-term goals, which are outlined in the report, which is the I&I removal primarily. And obviously monitoring that. If it is successful, then we could go and forego the replacement of the filters entirely and go straight to the long-term goal, which would be the ultimate goal of this.
Thank you. So, Your Worship, you've heard the director's response. Did you want to make a motion then to defer?
Yeah, I'd be happy to move that. And I've just encouraged members, reach out to CO with your comments, but I'd be happy to move that.
Do I have a seconder for that? Deputy Mayor, any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. The motion carries. Moving on to referral items, we have 2 existing referrals, the septage disposal and treatment resolution and the level of service policy review for pothole repairs on local streets. Anybody have any additional referrals? Seeing none, I'll read the motion that the Transportation Environment Services section endorse the following existing referrals, upcoming agendas, and staff. May I have a mover, please? The Deputy Mayor, Seconder, Councillor Waters. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Any questions from the media and the public? Sarah, anybody online? No. Thank you, Worship. I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. 7, Section B, Recreation Community Services. Councillor Roux, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Under Recreation Community Service on consent agenda, that the following consent agenda items haven't been given due consideration be received for information. We have the Penetanguishene Public Library Board meeting minutes of May 26, 25 and June 18, 25. Museum and Heritage Committee minutes of June 11 or June 12th, rather, 2025. And finally, All Things Canadian Post event summary. Does anyone have any consent? Mover? Councillor Rush, seconded. The Mayor, all in favor. That is carried. Under matters for consideration, we have one, and that is the summer cultural event recommendations, and that the town support Laclé in the development, planning, and facilitation stages of a tourism-focused Francophone event to have its debut in 2027, celebrating local historical cultures with programming inclusive to both official language communities, and that staff utilize the summer cultural event reserve to cover expenses related to consultation with historical cultural representatives, and further that council delegate authority for staff to waive fees for in-kind support related to the development, planning, and facilitation of the event above the 1,000 already delegated through the fee waiver policy. And finally, that the town focus on community events, building on the success of existing initiatives while exploring opportunities for new events that meet the evolving needs of community members. Maybe at this time, Your Worship, I might ask Councillor DeRush, who was a part of the committee, if she would have any remarks.
Thank you so much. As you know, this committee was struck a few years ago, I believe, and it was made up of a great bunch of community folk who represented a certain dynamic in the community. So I'd like to start by saying thank you to all of them for a great job well done. The report's very comprehensive. I think that it probably answers any question that you may have, but be sure that the committee was very, very thorough in reaching out. We did the survey. We reached out. They reached out to their own organizations to get feedback from their membership. It was brought to the table. It was discussed. We did the survey. We also had very comprehensive discussions with Laclé, who back pre-COVID was disappointed that they couldn't move forward with what they had hoped to be an event within the town of Penetanguishene. So to have this opportunity again through this venue, they felt very capable of moving forward as the lead for this project. So I think this is the best scenario that we could possibly ask for. They're very capable, and we would be able to support them and kind of hop on for the ride. So those are my comments. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the thoroughness of the report. Just wanted to confirm that it just talks about building on the success of the existing initiatives, and that we would do in 2026, we would do All Things Canadian and continue with what we're currently doing, and then the bigger event in 2027.
That's correct, yes. Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to down the work that's been done. And thank you, Councillor Drush, for sharing. I don't want to minimize the work and the efforts. That's not my goal here. I just want to make two comments, and I don't need a response. One, most of us participated a little more than a week ago, in Truth and Reconciliation events. And we were all challenged to do more than doing something on September 30th. And I just want to make sure that this event is not a French and English event. I want us to make sure we're inclusive of Indigenous groups that want to participate. I understand it's challenging to come to the table. I understand it's difficult. I understand not everyone's freely wanting to come and participate. I'm not saying it's easy. What I'm asking is, let's just do the hard work and make it as inclusive as we can. And let's make sure that it's truly a culture event that people participate. I really think those comments were well received. We're going to have to do that hard work. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm just saying, can we please just, I'm not saying you haven't done it. Can we please go that a little extra mile, please? My second comment, and it's literally a comment, I'm really disappointed that we're not doing it until 2027. We started this process about 3 years ago saying we'd like to do more. We waited for staff report to come back. Staff report came back, so we need more resources. One of the things we said was, well, we can't do all things Canadian last year because we didn't have the resource. We did this year, and it was, I think, a resounding success. I think it was phenomenal. Our next step is, well, let's wait till 27. I'm a little disappointed that we're moving down the field. I've just been hopeful that we could have done a little more, but I appreciate the complexity and difficulties, and I appreciate the relationships. I just want to just put that out there. And I want to say thanks for the work that's been done.
Councillor Rush, would you have any comments on that?
Certainly. So thank you for those comments. I certainly do appreciate it. The committee did work very hard and continuously reached out to get participation around the table from all cultural groups. And as you mentioned, it is very difficult, but you'll note in the report that that will be one of the town's big jobs, is to really work hard to get as much participation around the table as possible. So that's certainly a commitment that the town has made to La Clé, that they definitely will be working hard along La Clé to do that. And secondly, for the 2027 date, La Clé will be leading this, and funding opportunities are the kind of the wild card in this scenario. So a lot of the applications for events will be in early 2026, but it's not for 2026. It's always for these bigger events. They're always a year out. So that's why La Clé didn't feel that they were going to be able to get all their ducks in a row financially to be able to put this on. And we do not want to rush anything. We want to be thoughtful, we want to be thorough, and we want to make this a resounding, excellent event. So that's why better safe than sorry. So that we certainly did have that in mind. And much like you yourself, I'm also disappointed, but better to do a good job than to rush and have it kind of flop.
Thank you. Anyone have anything further comment? Or if not, I could get a mover and a seconder. A second mover by Councillor DeRush, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Finally, we have referrals to upcoming agenda. Staff referrals at the Recreation Community Services section endorse the following additional and existing referrals to upcoming agendas and staff. We have the one which is Memorial Opportunity. Does anyone have any that they want to add? Your Worship?
I believe we can remove that. That was in that previous one and council adopted earlier.
Yeah. Okay. And nobody has anything that they want to add? No. So then all in favor that we're going to remove the Memorial Opportunity, and Councillor DeRush and Councillor Marchand, all in favor? Thank you. Carried. And question period for media and public. I don't think there's any. And so that, I pass it back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor DeRush, please.
Thank you very much. So the Planning and Community Development Services has one consent agenda item, and it is the memo from the Municipal Law Enforcement Officer, the monthly activity report for August 2025. Does anyone wish to to discuss? Yes, Mayor Rawson.
Just a comment. I want to pull it further. I just want to say good work overall. I think I mentioned a while ago, we do our Main Street walkabouts. We've been hearing really positive work. We're actually hearing we're doing too much enforcement by some businesses, but you can see in here the trends, right? More warnings, more enforcement, more positive work, more patrol. So good work all around. I just want to compliment that. I think everything we've asked from a service perspective, we're seeing it. Good work.
Thank you for those comments. Yes, Councillor Marchand.
I would just echo those sentiments as well. And I do want to thank Director Betty and for the municipal law enforcement team, because I was out running on the trail and there was it's sad, but people are not taking their stuff to the dump and they're dumping it on our trails. And so I provided some feedback and a picture of what I had seen, and thank you very much. That was actioned, it was cleaned up. But just a reminder, it's just really disappointing that people are just putting their debris anywhere. It was like a desk and an old, I think, a bed. And so just so disappointing to see it, but thank you so much for the responsiveness of your group. And we're seeing more and more that I think that has become an issue in our municipality, and just encourage people to put that stuff where it needs to belong, right? Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Anyone else? Seeing none, the motion reads that the following consent agenda items, having been given due consideration, be received for information. Moved by Councillor Leroux, seconded by Councillor Marchand. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. We have no matters for consideration this evening, and we only have the one referral item left, and it is 161 Church Street. And it's regarding options for future use, including parkland and other options to define and clarify use. So I will read the motion that the Planning Community Development Services section endorse the following additional and existing referrals to upcoming agenda and staff. Can I get them? Do we have extra? Do you have additions here? No? Good. I won't look. I won't look. We'll ask for a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor LaRose, seconded by Councillor Waters. We'll go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Questions from the media and public? There are none, so I'll pass it back to you, Mayor Rawson.
Thank you, Councillor Thrush. Section D, Finance and Corporate Service section. Councillor Marchand, please.
Thank you very much. Under consent agenda items, we have one item. It's a memo from the Chief Administrative Officer with regards to the AMO conference delegations, that the following consent agenda item being given due consideration be received for information. Can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconded Deputy LaRose. Any questions or comments? Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. Thanks for this report. I think it's well done. I think everyone knows the work that we did at AMO this year. I want to emphasize Council 1, and that's our delegations and work regarding Central North Correctional Center. Council, back in August of 2023, CO brought forward a report which Council endorsed, talking about steps and actions this Council is going to take to support our advocacy efforts with the ministry and the government in getting the funds that unilaterally has been placed upon this municipality for the policing costs at CNCC. I think we've had some very positive advocacy work, and we've done a great job championing our cause with the ministry. And we've updated you on the work that we've done on those. And some members of council have been at some of these delegations, and I think we've done a great job. And I'm going to commend staff for the work that we've done on that. Council, you'll also recall about a year ago, we've met with the Solicitor General, and I would argue that pleading our case, the ministry has basically said they understand and hear us, and we don't even need to rationalize the data and the evidence behind it. It's we got to find a way forward. We got to find the solution to get there. We did some work with the ministry this past year, and the 11th hour, they literally got us that delegation at AMO. We were hopeful at that AMO delegation this year that we're going to get a resolution. Council, I'm disappointed to report that we actually took probably about 5 steps backwards at this year's AMO delegation. And I'm feeling quite disappointed on this approach. The CEO and I have talked about this, and we believe it's time to go back to that report of August of 2023, which Council endorsed and said, let's do basically all things we need to make this come to fruition. We talked about some advocacy, we talked about some communication, some other elements. I find it disturbing when the Premier's talking about automated speed enforcement being a cash grab. But in the same token, the Premier's cash grab in our community to make us pay for policing at a provincial institution, which for 20 years, we never paid as a municipality. Council, I think we need to move forward. I think we need to implement some of those strategies we talked about in 2023. I want to also remember, one of the reasons why we paused our efforts was because the work we've done, positive work we've done with our local member of provincial parliament and the Solicitor General, they asked us to pause. We told them, here's what we're doing. We're going to communicate this. This is what we're going to do. We've transparently told them what we're going to do. They asked us to pause. I want to remind you, at that same time, we moved into a provincial election. And then since that time, we have not had any more forward momentum. I'm really disappointed because I think we've been fair partners. I think we've been good partners. I think we've done the work diplomatically with members, and Councillor Rue, you started this work. Council, I think we need to move forward. I think we need to move forward strong. And I'm asking tonight that we support our initial attempts that was in the CEO's report in August of 2023, and that you endorse and support that work. And I'd love to hear feedback from anybody if you think we need to take a U-turn on this. Madam Chair, I also want to emphasize staff has done a tremendous amount of work. And not only they prepare us with the evidence and the materials and the research, I think they've thoughtfully prepared really meaningful plans for us to move forward. And I want us to move that forward, Council. So, Madam Chair, maybe the CEO could help us understand where this is at. And, you know, if he feels this is the right thing, but I think we're all looking for, we need to go to the next level here.
Do we want to put this as a referral back to staff, or CEO Lees? Did you want to comment on this, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to His Worship's comments, just a couple comments I would make. The mayor touched on a lot of great information, and I certainly agree with everything the mayor has touched on. I think, you know, and I've been part of this conversation kind of from the inception that kind of started last term and has filtered through to this term of council. I think where we're at, and I allude to this in my report, but I think where we're at, and certainly it's up to council and it's council's decision in terms of if they want to take a U-turn, but I think really where we're at is council needs to double down on continuing to turn the heat up on this matter. And I think we're at a point where we got to use all tools and all potential opportunities possible to make the kitchen as hot as possible on this particular matter. The mayor and I did have some great dialogue last week. We do have a draft kind of work plan, if I can call it that really touches on the things that were brought in one of my previous memos in 2023, which council supported, was in full support of. And really, I think from my perspective, what I think we heard from council 2 years ago, and hopefully the path still continues, that this is a high priority for us as an organization, us as a municipality. And I think identifying and outlining that roadmap and those next steps, which coincides very nicely with the report that was brought back in 2023, is really our next step. And again, council doubling down and us turning the heat up as much as we possibly can on this particular matter. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. So we'll accept the report as information, and do we provide direction to then proceed for next steps? How come I always get the hard ones? Sorry, go ahead.
Unless the CEO's got a different perspective, I don't know if we want to come back with the action plan, because we were pretty deliberate about the plan that we didn't want to share our hand. So for example, this past AMO, we also delegated to the leader of the opposition, and we copied the Minister of Solicitor General. But I think our action plan, all the steps, we don't want to make that a public document. I think what we're asking for is council support on moving forward. I think that's what we're looking for. We'll share with council, but I would be cautious on saying, here's the roadmap. But I think this council knows we've got a plan. Unless the CEO's got a different perspective, that's what I'm envisioning.
That's fine. I was just looking if whether we needed a motion to just proceed and give direction to follow that roadmap is really what my question was.
Through you, Madam Chair, if I can, I don't, from my perspective, I don't think we need any additional direction. I think we've got the direction we need from 2023. I believe this council, and I don't want to speak for this council, but I believe for this council, this continues to be a high priority. We will certainly keep council apprised of our plan moving forward. but suffice to say that it very much coincides with the plan that council unanimously supported back in 2023. So hopefully that helps, but I think we need to continue forging ahead. And as I said, turn the heat up in the kitchen on this particular item.
Good, I'm good with that. So I did have a mover and a seconder to accept that item. So all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Matters for consideration. The first one is we have the 2026 draft council and committee of the whole calendar. And so the motion, I'll put it on the floor, that the draft 2026 council and committee of the whole meeting schedule forming part of staff report CL 2025-10 be approved. Can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconder, Councillor Bedevancourt. Any questions or comments? I think the only thing to note is that there is one meeting change on a different evening because of, is moved to the 18th in November because of Remembrance Day is the previous week. So just wanted to note that. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. The next item is the fire service feasibility study, and there are three attachments to the feasibility study. I'm going to read the recommendation that the recommended action from the Executive Steering Committee for the Fire Service Feasibility Study outlined in option 4 of the staff report FES-2025-01 to return to a separate fire service model be approved. Can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconder. Councillor Duresh. Any questions or comments with regards to this feasibility study? And this really is just to highlight the work that was done by the committee, the report that was provided. We know that a decision has already been made and that there was communications forthright or provided. We just wanted to bring back and make sure that everybody on council had an opportunity to see the final report. Any questions about the report? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. In terms of referral to upcoming staff, that the Finance and Corporate Services section endorse the following addition and or existing referral to upcoming agenda and staff. The digital signage item we can remove because we did approve that and that got passed this evening. Is there any items to be added? Seeing none, the support to remove that, can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconder? Yeah. Councillor Leroux, all those in favor? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, something.
Sorry, what's your question, Councillor Bedevancourt?
Just with respect to the digital signage, I'm just trying to remember, Madam Clerk, did we deal with this or was it deferred?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councillor Bedevancourt, this matter was brought forward to Committee of the Whole last month, and Council approved, or Committee approved the motion that was recommended by staff in the report.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we approved it tonight, right? Great. All those in favor of removing that item? Motion carries. No questions from the public or media? Thank you very much. That's it for me.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Deputy Mayor, you have an announcement to make before I adjourn the meeting.
Just one quick announcement that the ball game is a final 5-2 Jays win.
We're going to look for a motion to adjourn at 10:40 p.m. It's moved by Councillor Waters, second by Councillor Marchand.